go outside. We can hang out on the beach without freezing. Yeah, isn't that amazing? In Christmas times.
Welcome to Crafty Beach. This is Julie, and today I have 30 Christmas DIYs for you that I've made so far this year in 2023. It's going to be a longer video, so I'll be sure to include chapters below if you want to hop around, but we're going to start out with some coastal Christmas Dollar Tree DIYs. For the first one, we're going to use a Dollar Tree sign. I like this one because it has the light wood frame, but it doesn't really matter. And I also made a template of an angel wing because I want to do an angel DIY for Christmas and I want it to look really fun and beachy. Since I like the frame, I went ahead and taped that off to make sure that stays that color of wood. And then I'm just going to paint the entire back of it with my favorite color of blue. This is the Cloudless color by Apple Barrel. You can get it at Walmart. You can also get it Amazon Prime free shipping. I have it listed in my shop below. I'm really surprised they can afford to ship that for as cheap as it is. It's like 50 or 60 cents a bottle. Now, since I'm covering like that dark wood background, it is going to take a couple of coats of that because it is acrylic to get, just a really soft blue background to do our angel wings. And my plan to do this is to do like shell, like kind of scales on the wings with Dollar Tree seashells. The little ones that you see there in the little glass bottles are the ones we're going to use to make the wings. Now, angel wings can be a little bit tricky, and so I did design a template and I will share that printable for you if you want to try to recreate, if you need a little help getting your angel wings to look like angel wings. I've tried to freehand them before and it didn't go so well. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove my painter's tape. I have enough coverage on the background to give me that blue vibe I'm going for. And you can see how nicely that shade of wood goes with it for the frame. Now for the template, I just printed mine out on cardstock, but you can print yours out on whatever. I'm just going to go ahead and cut that out. I just wanted a simple angel wing like coming down where I could do two of those together. So I'm just going to use this one as a template for both sides. And I'm just trying to find like the center part of the sign so I can get this, pretty well centered on there. And I'm going to just sketch it out with a pencil. I kind of made my pencil marks a little bit darker than I wanted. So learn from me. Don't push down on your pencil as hard as I did. But I just kind of sketched it out to give me the angel wing shape. And then I'm just going to flip it over to do a mirror image here on the other side, trying to keep it like equal distance from the sides. And I'm leaving a little extra space on the bottom of the sign because I do want to add a word to this sign a little bit later on. So that's what I have sketched out, and that's going to be my template for the seashells. I'm just going to use the little white seashells. I kind of want them all to be the same, but I'm actually going to do them, upside down like this so that you can see the shiny inside of the shell, and it's just going to be like, really a beautiful shiny texture for Christmas. And I actually even make them shinier to really make them glisten under like Christmas lights. So I kind of figured out what I wanted to do. And that's when I was like, my pencil marks, they're going to be a little bit harder to hide than I'd like. So I did try to go over them with an eraser, kind of soften them up a little bit. But I did have to kind of paint over them some places just because they kind of peek out, from the sides of the seashells and stuff like that. So I'm going to start right here down in the tip of my first angel wing, gluing one shell. And these are all about the same size, but there is a little variation, so you might want to play with yours a little bit. I'm going to do, two. I just kind of want to fill in the entire shape of the angel wing, working my way up. My plan is to do a starfish or something like in the middle of the wings in between the two. But I want to cover pretty much all the angel wings with seashells. So I do kind of lay them out first so I can kind of see, if they're gonna fit and stuff like that. I'm kind of doing rows, but they're kind of looser rows. I decided to kind of just go up like one side here to kind of know where I can end. But I am kind of nesting them under each other if I can, kind of working them together where like the bottom part of the seashell is on top to kind of give me that like scale pattern that I was going for the wings. So be sure to pick up, you're going to want all the same seashell. It could be, you know, if you're working with larger seashells from the beach, though, you're just not going to need quite as many. But since this is kind of on a smaller scale, the small seashells from the Dollar Tree work really well for this. So you can kind of see my rows. I don't really care about them too much as long as my left and my right sides kind of stay in so I can get that shape of the angel wing. So we're going to open up another bottle here. Trying to get lots of variety of shapes and sizes so I can kind of piece it together. And it kind of reminds me of a driftwood project where it's a little bit like a puzzle. I'm getting them all to fit nicely. They do have the blue background. I don't mind if some of that like peeks through or anything like that. So for that side, I just went up the left side. And then we are going to do the same thing here on the other side, just making sure that I'm going to be able to fit in, you know, like the middle pieces, especially down here where it's a little bit smaller because I don't have any real small shells to fit in there. So I'm going to need it to kind of fit. I'm going to keep working my way up this side too. A lot of hot gluing on this one, but oh my goodness, this turned out so pretty. It is one of my favorite coastal Christmas DIYs that I have ever made. I had so much fun making all these DIYs for you today. I hope you guys enjoy them. So I got pretty much that wing filled up. I'm going to go ahead and start working my way up towards the top. And then I wanted a seashell for the middle. The Dollar Tree seashells were a little too big. So I'm going to use one of these little cast, they're like plastic seashells that I get on Amazon. And these are listed in my Amazon shop as well. I just painted mine ivory and distressed it with some antique wax by Waverly just to give it more of a bleached look, like a seashell, you know, would look bleached. Just to make them look a little bit more realistic because I'm mixing like a fake starfish in with real seashells, if you know what I mean. So I just kind of went back and forth with the ivory, and then I'm going to have to kind of touch up my paint here in the middle so I can kind of blend that in without you being able to see it. But I don't want to like paint over all my lines. I still kind of need them for reference for the rest of my angel wings. I think this size is going to be perfect. I'm just going to hot glue my little starfish right here in the middle. And I mean, you could fill the whole thing in with shells if you didn't have a starfish, but I like the starfish idea. I think that's really fun. And now that I have my starfish glued in place, I can go ahead and finish out the rest of my angel wings. I think I used a total of 4 bottles, maybe 3.5 bottles to fill this entire thing up. And I just absolutely love how this turned out. It was so much fun. So it gets a little tighter here when you kind of have to fill in the gaps around the starfish. And so again, I'm just kind of playing around with the size and shape on those to get that filled in. And then we're going to do the same thing here on the other side. It's the first time that I've done a project like this where I've done like the shells upside down like this to kind of show the inside of them. And I just love the iridescence of the shells. I think it turned out really pretty. So just a few more pieces here to finish that out. Once I got it all filled in like this, I did have to kind of go in and, you know, touch up my paint a little bit there. I didn't want any of that showing through. And try to fill that in as tight as I can get it with seashells. I go back with my heat gun and just try to clean up any of the hot glue strings from around. And then I went in with a tiny brush to kind of go over my pencil lines that were exposed, trying not to get any paint on my seashells, but covering that up so you don't see any of my reference lines in there because, again, my pencil was a little darker than I would like. But I really did need it to get that shape, and so I do recommend using a template to kind of sketch it out for you a little bit, even if it's just a hand-drawn on one. And I'm going to do the same thing on the inside here. Then I decided, I thought my wings were a little skinnier than I'd like, and so I thought I could kind of fill up some more of the middle part of the sign by making that part of my wing like a little bit wider there, just to kind of fill it up a little bit more. But I'm also want to kind of stay with the shape that we designed there for the angel wing. So I kind of want it to go like in an arched pattern there towards the bottom. But I want to, fill up some more space. I really want most of the sign to be covered with things. And so I do add a few more to kind of continue that line all the way down here. And it doesn't really take away from my angel wing shape. It kind of just adds a little bit more seashells. So I did a total of 5 there on both sides, kind of nesting those under and making sure everything's glued down tight because I want this to hang on my wall. Now for the sign, I decided to do something really fun. I'm going to take one of these little burlap bags from the Dollar Tree. I love crafting with these, and just cut out a little strip. And I'm just going to try to make that as straight and rectangular as possible just by folding that up and trimming that down to size. I thought it'd be really fun to do like a little stamped on burlap sign for this. And I have the perfect word to put on here. I want to put the word believe, because you could believe in angels, you could believe in Christmas, So I decided to do that with stamping. And I found these great alphabet stamps at Dollar General. So I picked those up, and also they had stamp pads in like 4 different colors. I'm just going to stamp with black. But I thought that would be so cute to do the word believe on there, and I think I can fit it on that size of burlap. So just finding all the letters I'm going to need. And this is the first time that I've really done a stamp project for a DIY. Absolutely love the effect. I just want it to look really random, really like that stamp effect. So I'm going to start right here with the middle of believe is the letter I. And I just put some black ink on there and stamp it. And I want it to look very stamped and irregular like that. I think that's going to look cool. And then I'm just going to continue stamping the rest of the words. And I just love the effect. The burlap looks very coastal, but the stamping really does too. And I think it turned out really cool. So I'm just going to finish off our word. And the spacing was really easy by starting in the middle. That way everything is nice and centered. And then I'm just going to trim off the excess burlap here on the sides. Wasn't that easy? I absolutely love those stamps. I'm going to have to be crafting with those more. So now I just need to attach that to our sign. The back of that does have plastic on it, so I don't really want to melt that with hot glue. So I decided to just use Mod Podge here on the back. And put a nice thick layer of Mod Podge on, and then just lay that little burlap piece right there on my sign. Trying not to mess with any of the stamp. Isn't that so cute? Now, I really love it, and I think it's pretty, but I like a lot of my Christmas items to shimmer. So I thought with Christmas lights and stuff like that, I wanted the iridescence of the inside of the shells to be as shiny as possible. So I'm going to use Mod Podge, but I'm going to use the glossy Mod Podge from Dollar Tree. And I just go in with a tiny brush, and I am just going to paint the inside of every single one of my seashells with that. And it really made a big impact. I only do this once, but I was really impressed by like how much shine and glitz comes through, and I think it's going to look great with all of the Christmas lights and everything that we use to decorate for Christmas. So I'm going to do the same thing here on the other side. I tried to kind of work in rows so I could kind of know which ones I had coated and which ones I hadn't, because I don't want to leave any of them not shiny. Then I just had to go over with my heat gun and give them a nice dry. And it's kind of hard to show you on camera how much they shine, but you can kind of get an idea of the glisten there. I love how this turned out. What do you guys think about my little seashell angel wing sign for Christmas? I love it. I think it's so much fun. If you wanted yours to be a standing sign, you could always add like some blocks to the back, but I think I'm going to use mine just as the hanging sign it was. And I think it turned out really beautiful. I love using like that light beachy blue color for Christmas. Okay, next DIY. I'm going to make a wreath, and I wanted to make a wreath form. Now, I wanted to see if I could actually cut out a wreath form with these Dollar Tree cutting mats. So this is a first try for me. I'm using a strong grip cutting mat for my Cricut, and then I'm going to go in Cricut Design Space and try to do a wreath form. Because I needed something that was going to be flat that I can make this beach wreath with. So I make 2 circles. And I'm going to kind of show you how I put this together. So I did 2 circles, one black, one white, and then put one on top of the other one and resize it. Now, my cutting mat will only go up, or my cutting mat is 11 inches wide. So I thought 10.5 inches was probably as big as I could make the outside circle. And then I just sliced it and made my own wreath form. Pretty fun, huh? I'm going to cut this out on my Cricut Explore Air, and I was reading online and it said to use the chipboard 0.37 millimeter setting, and so that's what I'm going to use to cut it. I also changed my pressure from default to more, but I was really impressed that it actually worked. Look at this. And you guys know I love crafting with these little cutting mats from the Dollar Tree, so now that I know that I can cut them on my Cricut, that just opens up the opportunity for more, because cutting a perfect circle like this is so hard. But there it is, my little cutting mat wreath form. Perfect for my little coastal Christmas wreath that I wanted to put together. Now you're like, well, what are you going to put on it? We are going to do Dollar Tree sand dollars. So these are the sand dollars from the Shore Living line. I stock up on these every year. They come out spring through summer. So be sure to stock up. I always try to give you guys a heads up. I try to go to the stores every day until I see that they start putting them out. And every store, of course, is a little bit different. Now, I'm going to use a total of 12. So that's 4 packages to go all the way around my wreath. And I am going to connect it to the cutting mat on one side and overlap it with the one next to it on the other side. So they're all kind of nested on top of each other. Before I get any further, I do want a hanger for my wreath. So I'm just going to take some Dollar Tree twine, tie that around our little cutting mat wreath form, and then tie a little loop so we'll have a hanger before we start attaching everything down. Now, so one side's going to be attached to the cutting mat, one side's going to be attached to the sand dollar next to it. So a total of 12 for this part, but I do use one more when I go to decorate my wreath. So I'm going to go ahead and glue things first. That way I can glue to the actual sand dollar, not to paint. I am going to paint it though. So I went ahead and glued my first one down to the cutting mat. And then I'm going to glue this one to the cutting mat and to the sand dollar to the left and a little bit under it, overlapping them a little bit. I don't get my spacing perfect on these, but I did a pretty good job. I was trying to kind of lay them down first to see exactly where I need to put my hot glue, and put hot glue where it'll glue it to the mat and where it'll lay flat enough to be able to glue it to the sand dollar next to it. I was a little worried whether hot glue would be strong enough to hold up for this, but actually the wreath in the end turned out a lot sturdier than I imagined without, an actual metal wreath form or something like that. But gluing it to something flat like the cutting mat like this, I think was key kind of for the stability on this. And we are almost done. I just have one more to fit in here. I have to kind of nest it in, so it's going to be a kind of a multi-step process to get everything glued together here. But I just kind of went underneath that first one and laid that one right on top. And just cleaning up any hot glue strings, kind of pressing that all down on the cutting mat wreath form. Pretty cool, huh? Now, I just flip it over, and I want to make this as strong as possible. So I'm just going to go in with my hot glue, and just any area that's not completely glued down to the cutting board, I'm going to try to reinforce that just a little bit to make it super strong. So I want each one of them just glued in a second place to each sand dollar, just to make it super strong. I don't want this falling apart once I hang it on my wall for Christmas. So that looks pretty good. And now that I have it all strong and secure, I can paint it. I wanted my sand dollars to look beachy blue, so I'm using the apple barrel cloudless color again. And I'm just going in with my brush, and we are just going to paint the front of every single one of the sand dollars this blue color. Now, if you like it the color they are, or if you want to do it like the ivory color, I think that would look really pretty too, but I really wanted to bring some color to this project, so that's why I decided to do all of my sand dollars in this beachy blue color. As you can see, they paint really easily. It's really only going to take one coat, and I want it to look very matte, very coastal farmhouse, and so I don't care if a little bit of the white might show through. I think that's going to just make it look a little bit distressed. So I just had a couple areas there where I just want to make sure there's no paint, like, filling any of the slots or anything like that on the sand dollar. And now we can decorate it. First, we're going to use some of these little Christmas tree ornaments from the Dollar Tree and one more sand dollar. Now, the Christmas tree ornaments, I think, look like coral. We're going to be using those in more than one project today. I love crafting with those. They're so fun. As you can see, the sand dollar is kind of grayish. So I'm just going to go over mine with some white acrylic just to brighten that up, give it a nice snowy finish. And then I also go over it with that glossy Mod Podge to try to make it glisten and gleam for Christmas. Now, the little Christmas tree ornaments that look like coral are also covered in glitter, and I do go back and add glitter to this here in a little bit because I kind of wanted it to kind of match that shine. But the first part of the shine was just the gloss Mod Podge. So I did go over that with a couple of coats to try to make that as shiny as possible for Christmas. Now I'm going to use one package of the little coral trees. I think these look like coral, but all you have to do is break the little trunk off of them. They're made out of plastic, so it's easy enough to do with your fingers, or you can do it with scissors to break those off, and then it looks like little branches of coral. Now they kind of have an upside and a downside. You can kind of, mess with them. I like the more detailed side to be up on mine. And I'm going to have one go out each side of my wreath. And I just hot glue the little ornaments down to the sand dollar underneath. Then for the middle section to cover where the little hanger holes were on the ornaments. And for the very final decoration, we're going to use that sand dollar that we painted white and made super glossy. So I kind of see where that's going to need to be attached. I thought it was going to be probably not strong enough if I just attached it to like a few contact points on the ornament itself. So I decided to use a little spacer, and I have one of these little wood slices from the Dollar Tree just sitting here on my workspace. I'm just going to go ahead and cut that down with my miter scissors. You could always use a little Jenga block or something too. I just wanted something that I could glue it to that would be a little bit sturdier. So I glue that to the sand dollar underneath, and then glue the sand dollar down to the ornaments and to that little wood spacer that we added there to make sure that's nice and strong. I don't want that falling off my wreath. Now again, I wanted it to be extra shiny, so I went and picked up some glitter. I ended up having to go to Walmart to get this white glitter because I couldn't find any at Dollar Tree, but I was happy to find this. It was only a couple of dollars at Walmart, and it has all these colors of glitter. So I am just going to use Mod Podge to attach it. So I just do another coat of Mod Podge all over the little sand dollar. And then we can go in and sprinkle that white glitter all over. It's going to make it extra sparkly, just like the little coral trees that we attached to the sides. So I just go over it with one coat of glitter, and I hate working with glitter because I think it goes everywhere, but I put a cutting mat down, so I did a pretty good job of catching all of the glitter. And I'm going to make sure it's good and dry too before I stand this up. But this is how it turned out. Our little Dollar Tree sand dollar wreath. I love it, and I'm so impressed with the cutting board wreath form. What a great idea. This is how it turned out. It's a little hard to bring you the shimmer of the sand dollar and the coral trees, but they are extra sparkly with that glitter, and I think they look so festive for Christmas. Now, last year I made a whole wreath for him out of the little coral reef for him, so I'll have to be sure to show you guys that. Hey guys, I wanted to let you know that I've introduced memberships on my channel. For $4.99 a month, you're going to get early ad-free access to my videos, and it's a quick, easy way to support my channel. All you have to do is hit the join button on my page. Okay, next DIY, we're going to use some of these party hats from Dollar Tree. These are long and skinny. I thought they'd make the perfect Christmas tree. So the first thing I do is just remove the little hanger and make sure it is kind of put together right. I want that perfect cone shape to make a little coastal Christmas tree. Now, I want to kind of reinforce the shape, but I also want to make it stronger because the paper that it's made out of is not very strong, and I want it a strong base for a Christmas tree. So I just take masking tape, try to reinforce the shape, but I also want to cover basically the entire party hat with a masking tape just to provide it more structure. Also to cover up all the bright colors on the party hat in case you can see in between what we're going to add to it. And what are we going to add to it? We're going to add Dollar Tree round wood beads, just natural wood, and Dollar Tree the brown nautical rope. I thought we could kind of alternate those and do a really cute little coastal Christmas tree. So I'm just working my way all the way around that with masking tape, just pretty much covering up everything. Kind of have to work in some weird angles and stuff with this to get everything covered, but that made it so much stronger. I was impressed. I'm also going to kind of trim up the hat to make sure that it stands as flat as I can get it to give us a base for that tree. I've done this with the large party hats from Dollar Tree. I've made them into Christmas trees, but it's the first time I've used one of the smaller ones, I think, like that, to do a smaller scale tree. This is the rope that we're going to be using from Dollar Tree. This is the wider rope. I noticed this one was like extra stringy, and so I'm going to go ahead with my lighter first and just burn off all the fuzzies on this one to kind of clean it up first. So I won't have to do this later. I don't want to burn any of the wood beads or anything like that. Now I'm going to leave the wood beads all strung together just to make this project even simpler. Going to go ahead and remove the tag. The first one's kind of like put on there and wrapped around, but I think we can make that work. I want to do them side by side. So the very beginning here is the most crucial part, getting these attached securely to the tip of the little Christmas tree or party hat, because we're going to be wrapping it around it and we're going to be kind of tugging and pulling. So we're going to, need this to be a little bit secure. Especially the rope piece here I found was really crucial to get that glued down and glued down strong. I did really kind of let that set up before I decided to start working with it anymore. And, when you have your rope cut like that, you have different layers too. So I kind of glued the layers down to themselves as well. Then we can start wrapping it around. I do one row of hot glue there. I'm not going to glue everything down, but at least one side of it's going to be glued down at all times to kind of keep it tight up against the Christmas tree. And then I just kind of roll that around, trying to keep my wood beads tight. But they do have a little bit of slack, so I can kind of go around the round edges like that and wrap it all the way around the Christmas tree like that. Reinforcing the tip, because I found that my rope was kind of coming away a little bit. And then I do another little band of hot glue down where I can wrap that around, trying to keep it tight so you can't see too much of the masking tape through it. But that did a good job of masking the colors on the party hat for sure. Now, I probably should have tied these together before because I don't want it to fall apart now, and you're definitely going to need more than one. I ended up using 2 and then just a tiny bit of a third package of the Dollar Tree wood beads. You could always string your own if you can't find the pre-strung. Wood beads at Dollar Tree seem to be pretty common anymore. I just tie my 2 strands together, cutting off the excess string, and then I can continue wrapping this around. I only needed 1 package of the Dollar Tree rope. That was plenty to go all the way around. Originally, I was just going to do wood beads, but I thought that would look kind of boring. I thought I could give it a coastal character by adding the rope to it, and I'm so glad I did. I think that the 2 really work well together. So this is how far I got with the second one. So I'm going to need just a little bit here of the third one. And so I'm going to tie that off again. As tight as I can get that. And then I can always hide, you know, any of the excess string that's hanging off there, but just kind of pushing it down in there and twisting it. So I'm kind of trying to figure out exactly how many of the wood beads I need. And that looks pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the string off a little bit longer so that I can kind of wrap that through the bead and pull that tight to kind of finish that one off and glue that to the party hat there. So you kind of have to do your two individual parts separately here to finish off your tree. And then I'm trying to see about how much of the rope I need. I try to cut it a little bit at an angle so it would kind of lay flat with the bottom of the tree. And I trim that down and secure that to the little party hat with hot glue as well. And I'm just trying to get as flat of a bottom as I can get there so that my little Christmas tree will stand up properly. I'm kind of trying it out. Now for the tree topper. I do another one of the wood beads from the wood bead garland and I just glue it straight to the top like that, hole straight up, because I wanted to do a Dollar Tree starfish to attach to it, but I was trying to figure out exactly how I was going to attach it. I found I needed something to really attach it to. So I thought I could attach it to that wood bead that we added on there. And then I thought maybe to make it a little bit stronger, I could put something in the wood bead too to kind of, you know, strengthen that up. But I found that my tree wasn't super stable, so I did think that maybe one more wood bead here at the bottom would make that sit a little bit flatter. And so I'm going to just glue one more wood bead on here. And that did kind of straighten mine up. So you might need to add or remove a wood bead there at the bottom. Whatever you need to do to make sure that your tree is going to stand up strong and not going to tip over, especially with a tree topper on there. Once I got that secured, I decided to add a little color. So I'm going to go in with that Cloudless color by Apple Barrel and paint our little starfish blue. I thought that'd be cute. The little starfish from the Dollar Tree, and again, Shore Living, paint so nicely. You could always use a real starfish as well. I do have some listed in my Amazon shop below, and I do like to craft with those too. Since you're going to be able to see it from the front or the back because it's a Christmas tree freestanding, I decided to go ahead and paint the back of the starfish in that light blue color as well. And now to attach it. I decided to use some of these little wood dowels. You could probably use a skewer, whatever you've got. I just wanted another thing to be able to attach the tree topper to make it more stable. I'm just going to cut that little wood dowel down and I can put that inside the wood bead there at the very tippy top of my Christmas tree to give me something to kind of secure that starfish too. I didn't really want to like drill a hole in my starfish or anything like that. But I just wanted a little bit more area to have contact area with the glue. So I put some hot glue inside the wood bead and glue the little dowel right down inside. And then I can hot glue my starfish to that. I was trying to decide if I was going to glue it to the front or on the very, very top. I decided to do the very top. So I put some hot glue on the back of the starfish and then lay my dowel right inside. Trying to let that set up a little bit before I add more hot glue because I definitely want to glue the whole thing in. Once I got my first layer of hot glue setting up, I went in and added way more to kind of make a big glue blob around the dowel to make that super strong. I also took it and popped it in my freezer to try to make that set up even faster. And it did. My hot glue is set up now. I'm just going to kind of clean up any hot glue that you might be able to see on the rope. And this is how it turned out, our little rope and wood bead coastal Christmas tree. I love it. It's standing up fine on its own. And I think it's really beautiful. What do you guys think about this idea? It's a little bit different variation than I've done on any of them before, but I absolutely love how it turned out. I think it's very coastal with the rope and the starfish, but the wood beads really add some fun to it as well. I love it. I think it's so fun. I decided to kind of have my wood beads start there in the front. I thought that was like the prettiest side of my Christmas tree. Now back to the flexible cutting mats from Dollar Tree. This time I'm going to make a large coastal Christmas tree. So I'm just going to fold one corner in and I'm just going to spin this around and make it into the shape of a cone. And then I'm going to go in with hot glue and glue down my corner. I've made trees like this before with these cutting mats. I made a bunch of Valentine's Day trees last year for a video. So I knew that I could make trees with these and it was so easy. Once I get it glued together like that, I just go around and cut a flat bottom on my tree by cutting off the excess cutting mat. Then to make it even a little bit stronger, I added a little bit more hot glue here on the other flap to secure that down. And we have a perfect base for another coastal Christmas tree. Now for this one, we have a local tradition in West Palm Beach every year where they make this giant Christmas tree out of tons of sand. It's beautiful. It's all lit up. It's so fun for Christmas. We've tried to visit it every year. And so that was my inspiration for this one. I thought I'd make a little sandy tree. But I wanted to be decorated with seashells and stuff. And I thought it would be way more secure if I added the hot glue to the cutting mat before I do anything with the sand. I'm going to use just a couple different seashells here, trying to keep in the same color scheme, but using some of the larger bottled seashells from Dollar Tree because the other ones all seemed like they were a little bit too small. And you don't really have to be too precise with the hot glue on this because you're going to be hiding that with sand anyway. I just wanted a really random pattern of these like little flat shells all over. But I'm also going to do those really decorative ones with the little brown spots all over. I absolutely love those. But I want all of my tree to be decorated. So I'm just doing the front, back, sides, just kind of working in a random pattern here, having them go all different directions and stuff like that too. And it's really easy to like hot glue things onto the cutting mat and stuff like that. It seems to be really heat proof. As you can see, it's not melting or anything when I'm adding that super hot glue to it. And just continuing our pattern with these. I love crafting with the Dollar Tree seashells. They're some of my favorite. And they're very inexpensive, and we love things from the Dollar Tree, right? Once I got it all decorated, then we can worry about the sand. I'm going to go ahead and put a tray down here to collect my sand, and we're going to use school glue to attach it. I always like to try to stock up on school glue. Back to school time, you can get it for like $1 a bottle. For sand, we're going to use Dollar Tree sand, and I want this one to look like real sand, like brown sand, so we're going to use that tan sand from the Dollar Tree. I already have a couple packages open, but this is what the package looks like from the store. And we can start gluing it down. I'm going to kind of paint it on. So I'm going to just start going all the areas of the little tree that don't have seashells and just kind of go around it. And then take a paintbrush and kind of paint that on. Since I had to put this seashells down first, it was kind of a battle to try to keep the sand off of the shells. But at this step, I'm just trying to paint it all over, trying to avoid getting the glue on the shells. And I want to do like a good half or a third of it. And then we can start sprinkling it with the Dollar Tree sand. I'm just going to grab handfuls and just kind of sprinkle it all over with this side, trying to get as much down as I can. Now, there are kind of bumpy areas from the cutting mat being taller in some areas from where I folded it on top of each other. But I'm going to try to get the sand thick enough today to kind of mask that. You can see that line kind of going diagonally across it. We're going to try to hide that with the sand. So any areas that didn't really have anything attached, I didn't really have any glue down, so I kind of patched those in a little bit, but I don't want it to be super bumpy. It can be a little bit bumpy. I try to smooth that out a little bit. And again, just sprinkling sand all over until I get really good coverage. But also trying to clean off my seashells if I think that there's a little bit too much glue stuck to them. it was a battle of, I just kept some wet wipes and I just kind of kept going over the shells as I added more and more sand to my project. So that's one coat all the way around. I'm going to go ahead, my sand is dry, so I can go ahead, pour that back in my bag and save that for the next coat. I went in with my heat gun and gave my first coat of sand a good dry. And now I kind of need to switch it up to spray glue. This is the Dollar Tree spray glue. I love using this for sand. I'm going to go ahead and lay my tree down. Give it a good spray all over with that spray glue. But again, since my seashells are already on there, I don't want the sand to stick to those, so I kind of wipe the glue off of those before I sprinkle the sand on. Then I just grab a handful of the Dollar Tree sand and start sprinkling these all around as well. Trying not to get any on there, so again, just wiping down my shells as I go. I don't care if they have a little bit of sand stuck to them, I just don't want them completely buried in the sand. So I'm just going to turn it slightly, spray more glue, and just start covering it more. I just want it to be deep enough to cover the entire cutting mat. I don't want any of that showing through. And again, the seams of getting it into that cone shape, I want to cover that as well. So again, I spray it, wipe off the glue from my shells, and then sprinkle more sand. And I'm just going to keep going around and building that out until it's completely covered. It's a very lightweight Christmas tree made out of the cutting mat, but it's surprisingly strong. And you can see that seam going across there, so I can kind of see, exactly how deep I need to get it to be. But it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm going to have kind of a front on my Christmas tree anyway. I'm going to pick my favorite side to make my front when I attach my tree topper to it. So I'm just trying to cover everything as best as I can, patching any areas that I thought might need a little bit more, and kind of checking it out. Any areas that the sand may have fallen off, or any of the areas where I want to try to cover up that seam a little bit more, I just spray and add more sand. Now the sand on this at this point has been sprayed glue, so it's kind of a wet sand, so I'm not really going to be able to save that. As you can see, I left an opening in the top of my cone to attach my tree topper. I thought that was going to make it easier. And then I went over it with my heat gun to make sure it was really dry. I did notice a few areas that might need a little sprinkle here or there. So I just sprayed everything down with more of that spray glue and kind of filled in any areas that still might need it. And then I gave it a good dry with my heat gun again to make sure the glue is dry and the sand is secure before we decorate this little tree any further. For the tree topper, I'm going to use a real starfish that I got on Amazon, but as you can see, it's about the same size as the Dollar Tree one. It's just personal preference. I thought this one was a little bit more lightweight. And I'm actually going to use a popsicle stick from Dollar Tree to attach it. So I'm just going to hot glue the popsicle stick to the very back. It's going to be kind of hidden. You're only going to be able to see the base, and it's that natural color of wood, so it's going to kind of blend into the beachiness of the sand. And then we can drop that down in the top. I do want it to be attached like for storage and stuff like that. So I'm kind of seeing what's the best way to attach it. I decided to hot glue the front of the popsicle stick to the inside of the front of the tree. So I just put a little bit of hot glue and kind of push that up against it. You can kind of get to it from the inside too if you need to kind of reinforce it, but I'm trying not to mess up any of my freshly glued on sand. But this is how it turned out, my version of the sandy tree using items from the Dollar Tree and a starfish from Amazon. Pretty cute, huh? I think it turned out pretty well. I was pretty happy with keeping the sand off the shells. Again, I didn't care if there was a little bit of sand on them, but I wanted you to still be able to see the shells. So I didn't want them to be completely submerged in sand, but this is how it turned out. Some of the flatter ones kind of look like they are kind of buried in sand like they would be at the beach, which looks kind of cool. And this is how it turned out. I love it. My little sandy tree. For the next one, we're going to use 2 of these wall shelves from Dollar Tree. I love crafting with these. They're a nice, thick piece of wood, no warping or anything like that, and you can make just about anything out of them, especially if you add more than one, you can make any shape. I wanted like a rectangular shaped sign, nice and large, so I decided to take 2 of these and glue them together. I just do a bead of hot glue. They're so thick that if you just hot glue them together like this, you really don't need to brace them or anything. It's actually pretty secure. So I'm just going to try to remove any excess hot glue that might have came out. Now they do have holes drilled in them because again, they are shelves, but I kind of like that rustic look. I'm just going to leave them. I do go ahead and sand them a little bit just to clean it up a little bit. I'm going to be covering the ones on the bottom anyway, but I'm just going to leave the ones on the top. They really don't bother me. Before I get any further though, I do want to add a hanger to these, and these are the little hangers that I'm constantly taking off the Dollar Tree signs because they always have them one on each side, and I always usually take off the ones that I don't use so they don't hang out the side of the picture frame, and I can always reuse them. So about halfway down each shelf, I'm going to just simply attach these, and I was hoping that the wood would be soft enough for me just to be able to screw these in with my little tiny screwdriver from the Dollar Tree. And I was lucky enough they were, so I didn't have to pre-drill anything. And the screws were actually just the perfect size for this wood. They didn't go through it or anything like that. And we're going to be doing a really fun coral Christmas tree on this sign that I don't want to mess up. So putting the hanger on the sign first is crucial if you want to make yours a hanging sign. So we're going to do the same thing here on the other side. The only tricky part was getting the little screw to stand up exactly where I want it with big fingers. So I just went ahead and screwed that one on. We have the perfect base for this. Now I wanted to look beachy and I wanted to be colorful too. So we're just going to paint it first. We're using that same blue cloudless color from Apple Barrel that we've been using on our beachy DIYs today. And I just want one coat on the front. The raw wood paints so easily. I want to make sure that I don't use too much paint because I don't want to get any on the sides or anything like that. I just want to paint the front of this one. So I'm just going over the whole thing. And then once we get it painted blue, we can add the coral to it. What I want to do is a Christmas tree that looks like it's made out of coral. And we're going to do that with these Dollar Tree tree ornaments. I don't think they're supposed to look like coral, but they totally do. So we're going to take advantage of that. I've made a wreath last year with these. I've made an actual physical Christmas tree with these from last year. I love them. They're my very favorite. So I'm just going to break off the little trunks on these to make them look like coral branches and start like kind of mapping out a Christmas tree on the front of this. I want it to be nice and large to cover pretty much the whole sign. So I'm going to have like one come out on each side. Just kind of breaking the little trunks off as I go. I'm kind of figuring out how many we're going to need exactly. I try to grab a handful of these when I'm over them in the store and I see them. Because I actually craft with these year round because I think they look so much like coral. So that is our third package. You can kind of see the Christmas tree shape kind of taking shape. And here is package number 4. We're going to have to make some of these shorter to make, give it that V shape without having to overlap them too much. And package number 5, one can go straight up like that. And then one can go here in the middle. And I think, end up with package number 6 because I think I ended up using 3 in the middle in the final. So 6 packages to make a tree this size. Now, they are covered in glitter, so I'm going to have to deglitter my sign here real quick. Wipe that off and give us a clean base to work with, and we can start assembling these. We are just going to simply attach those to our Dollar Tree sign there with hot glue. Again, they kind of have a more detailed side and a plainer side. So I want the more detailed side of the branching like coral look up. And so I'm just going to kind of put hot glue on the middle and any of the sides that are a little bit lower that I know that are going to come into contact with the back of the sign. And we're going to do the same thing here with the other one. I want the base of my Christmas tree to be the widest part. So I just went ahead and used the entire ornament like that with a little hanger hole and all. I'm going to end up covering that up a little bit later so you won't be able to see that. Now for the second row, I'm going to want it to be a little bit shorter. And I don't really want to overlap it. I want it to be flat so that I can glue it to the sign. So I just kind of cut through the hanger hole on this one and hot glue the middle and any of the lower branches down. Kind of trying to nest this in with the one next to it. Again, I don't really want it sticking out too much, so I'm going to have to kind of work them together like that. So again, I don't really want them layered. I just want them kind of next to each other. Their branches can kind of be entangled if needed. I cut this one the same size, about halfway through the hanger to get it to fit where I can put them side by side like this. And it's going to be slightly shorter from the one on the bottom. For this one, I just cut off the entire hanger hole to make this one a little bit shorter. Again, bringing it up, getting that tree shape as we slowly point the coral up towards the top of the sign. I was going to kind of trim that one down a little bit, but it was a little tougher than I thought, but I think I can get this to work. I just kind of had to shorten this piece a little bit because again, I don't want to overlap it in the middle. I don't want too much bulk going on there because I want to add more coral to that part of the tree to finish it off and to kind of cover up all of my unfinished edges there in the beginning or the middle of the tree. So for our fourth row, I just cut off like the bottom branch of it to make it a little bit shorter and glue that, kind of working it into the one next to it. As you can see, that slightly goes over it. And we're going to do the same thing here with the other side. So those are all going to be all of our branches that go straight out to the side. Just making sure everything is glued down because again, this is going to be a hanging sign. I don't want any of this falling off. For this one, I just have it go straight up. So I just cut off the hanger hole and glue this one up to the very top of the sign. Making sure that it's good and secure. Then for this one, I decided to do the same thing, just kind of overlapping the middle sections here, but making it go the same direction as the piece going up to fill in the middle part of the Christmas tree. And that's when I decided I needed that one more ornament to do the base. And since it's already got a tree trunk on there, I'm just going to leave the tree trunk on that piece and use it as the tree trunk for our coral Christmas tree. I just cut off the little hanger hole on the top so that part's not visible. And I'm trying to see exactly where I need to attach hot glue. I'm going to overlap the one on top and then glue the tree trunk to the sign itself. Kind of had to arch this one a little bit, so I'm trying to make sure that all of my hot glue is dry and everything is secure. Isn't that so pretty, the little coral Christmas tree? I love it. I didn't think it really needed a tree topper, but I thought I could do ornaments with the little tiny seashells from the Dollar Tree. And I'm choosing the really small little tan cone-shaped ones. They're so beautiful. And I just do a dot of hot glue here and there all over, and we're just going to make little seashell Christmas ornaments all over with those. It's kind of beautiful enough to leave it on its own, but I wanted to add a little seashell, a little bit of tan color to it. And I'm glad I did. I think that really was a fun touch. And since these seashells are so small, they're definitely not overwhelming. And I kind of want just a random pattern. I want to make sure that I have like seashells on every branch. But again, I want it to be a little bit random. So I think that looks good. Just cleaning up my excess hot glue strings. And then since it's going to be a beachy tree, I decided to cover the very bottom of our sign with glue and sand. So again, I'm using school glue and just doing a little layer for the bottom that makes it look like the little coral tree is standing in sand. And I'm just going to sprinkle that Dollar Tree tan sand all over to kind of give us a little bottom to our sign. Pushing that down, filling in any holes. And it can kind of be random. I'm just trying to keep it out of the coral tree if I can by blowing any of the sand back down where it needs to go. And that's how far one layer of the school glue and sand got me. So I am going to have to go in with the spray glue to add any more layers. And I sprayed that glue down, added more sand, filling that in. I'm not going to add any seashells or anything down there in the sand, but you totally could if you wanted to. It's a little hard to glue on top of the sand because you kind of really need to glue to the base behind it. So you might want to glue those seashells on before you add the sand, like we did with our little sandy tree. Just trying to clean up any sand with a dry paintbrush that was kind of interfering with my little coral tree. You might want to add the sand before you add the coral. It probably doesn't matter. But I did have to do a little cleanup there to get that out of my coral tree. But look how beautiful this turned out. I absolutely love it. Trying not to mess up my kind of freshly glued sand there on the bottom. But I think it turned out beautiful, our little coral Christmas tree. What do you guys think about this one? You're going to have to let me know in the comments below which one was your favorite DIY today, which one that you're going to try to recreate for your coastal Christmas. And if you make any of these, be sure to post them in our Facebook group because we want to see your beautiful creations. I hope you're enjoying today's video so far. Up next, we're going to be doing some Scandinavian Christmas DIYs, but still with a little bit of a coastal twist. Enjoy. For the first DIY, I wanted to make like a little Scandinavian inspired box Christmas tree. And I thought one of these little triangle signs from the Dollar Tree would be perfect. Now, I've crafted with these before, and usually if you can just find a corner, a little bit of loose glue, you can just pop the backs off. You can cover them with whatever you want. But man, this one was made well. I tried that. I tried heat. Nothing was going to take this off. And then I'm like, you know what? It's probably nailed on. So I'm just going to use a hammer and I'm going to tap on the sign, and that totally popped it right off. So to save you some time, because I was struggling with that one. Now, once I get it off, I'm going to kind of clean up some of the ripped paper that kind of came off with it too. I don't want any of that to be visible. And what I want to do is make it into a Christmas tree with like cutouts and like a cool pattern that you would see like in a Scandinavian Christmas decor. But I'm actually going to give a little coastal twist to mine. That's one reason I really love like the Scandinavian and the hygge feel, is because it goes so nicely with coastal and it's very similar. Lots of woods, lots of white, lots of greenery. And so the wood frame on this is perfect. Now I'm going to go into my Cricut to cut the paper, and I wanted to show you how I did this in case you're not too sure about your Cricut design space. You can go in there and just choose a free shape, like I chose a free triangle, and I measured it, and you can make it a custom size. Mine happened to be square, but if it's not, you could always just unlock that and make it whatever size you need it to be. Now, I told you I was going to do a coastal version on mine, and I'll be sure to share this project in the description below if you want to do a coastal version as well. But I kind of want to show you how I put mine all together because I know my way around Cricut design space. I wouldn't say I'm fantastic at it, but I know how to do some really fun things. So I'm going to show you how I put this together. So I picked just a simple, seahorse silhouette and a shell. I went into contour to cut out the extra pieces from the shell because I just want it to be one cutout, something super easy. I just want coastal things. So I did a seahorse, I did a seashell, and then I thought a sea turtle would be great. So this one's really good. It's got all the detail, but it's an easy cut for my Cricut. And I kind of want to do a pattern up the Christmas tree. For the last one, I thought maybe just one more shell, and I think this one will work. So once I get them on, I just change the color of them so they're all the same color. And then I'm just going to kind of grab those, resize them, move them around wherever I want. I just want to do kind of a cool little pattern like you would see like on a Scandinavian design. And I'm going to kind of repeat the pattern going down. So one shell on top. Then we could have two little seahorses below that. And don't be afraid to play around with them and get them just like you want. And then I'm going to copy and paste. So we have 3 seashells, and then let's do 4 of the sea turtles. Once I get them all on my little triangle, which I'm not going to cut out the triangle, I'm just going to go row by row and center them vertically so they are lined up perfectly. Then I go in and grab every single one of them over here on the right, and I'm going to combine them with the weld feature. It's going to make them all one file. I select that and my triangle and hit the slice button. It's going to give me a perfect triangle cut out, right, with all of those things. I delete the other layers and I can just cut this. I'm actually going to use the glitter cardstock function because I found some glitter cardstock at Dollar Tree and we can cut it out. So whenever you're working with paper in your Cricut, you're going to want to try to use a light grip mat if you have it. It's just going to work a little bit better for you, going to be easier to get the paper off. But this glitter cardstock, look how pretty it is. It's white glitter cardstock. I got this at Dollar Tree in a little package with other colors, and I took it and cut it. So let me show you how it turned out. I'm just going to go ahead and weed off the excess cardstock. And I think my items were pretty good. The seashell had a little bit of feathering from being cut so small on the little lines that go down inside, but I was really pleased with how this worked. So I'm just going to erase this using the mat. Will automatically weed all the items out, and I have all those cool shapes too that I could reuse for another project. How cute is that, right? And it's the perfect size for our little tree. So I'll set that aside. I might use those later. And I just kind of need to attach that now to the front of the sign. So yeah, the only one I kind of had to trim up here was the seashells. They were just a little feathery because they were cut so skinny there at the end. But otherwise, all the shapes turned out pretty good. It was kind of just exactly what I wanted. And I'm making sure that I have it cut down to size. And we're actually going to make this light up. My first thought was to put LED candles in there, but I end up using Christmas lights. So I'll show you that. Since this is paper, I'm just going to use a glue stick to attach it. I thought that'd probably be plenty strong enough. And so I just put glue stick all around the edges where it's going to overlap the frame and push the glitter cardstock right on top. Now you can do this with any kind of pattern, any kind of color scheme, whatever you want. Now, you don't really have to have a trunk on them, but I kind of wanted to do a trunk, so I'm going to use some of the little mini Jenga blocks from Dollar Tree, a total of 4 here, and kind of piece those together to make a trunk. I'm going to add onto this project a little later, and I will have to kind of build this out a little bit, but this was my first attempt at a tree trunk for a little Christmas tree. So that all looks good, so now I want to work on the back. I thought if I get the back wet, it would be easier to kind of scrape off the ripped paper, and it kind of worked. I'm probably not going to get it all off, but if I can at least get anything off that's going to interfere with the next layer of paper, I think it's going to be better. Now, I also found some colored cardstock from Dollar Tree. I love it when I find colored cardstock there, or any kind of scrapbook paper at all, because it's kind of hard to find at Dollar Tree, right? And I'm going to use this beautiful like mint green color. I thought this looked really coastal. It would go great with my decor. And we're just going to cut out a simple triangle here to cover the back. That way, it's going to be lit up at night, so it's going to be really pretty. But during the day, I want it to be pretty as well. So it'll have this nice like mint green, beachy color in behind all of those cutout shapes. So once I get it cut down to size, I'm just going to simply Mod Podge this on. And you can use any kind of paper glue for this as well, but I love Mod Podge, so I'm just going to do a nice coat all over and stick the cardstock right on top. Pushing that down, and then I told you I wanted to light it up. I didn't really think I was going to be able to put a back on it and do the candle, and I really kind of wanted a back on it. So we're going to use some of the little LED Christmas lights from Dollar Tree. These come in all different colors. This is the white set. And I think one strand is going to be plenty to light up this little Christmas tree box. And it's got the battery pack, so you do have to put a couple batteries in there. Double A is the size on this one, and you can see how nice they light up. Now, for some reason, mine didn't have a screw on the battery pack. I don't know why, but I actually had a little screw. You know, my work desk has about everything from DIYing, and so I screwed that on to the back. Now, I kind of just want to go back and forth on this. I just need to find a way to attach the lights to the back of the Christmas tree. So I thought I should start like in the middle of the bottom. That way I can make the battery case go out behind the project. And I tried using like just some little sticky tape to attach it, and that didn't really want to work too well. I wanted something that you wouldn't really be able to see through the cutout, so I ended up using hot glue. At first I was worried that that might like kind of melt the plastic around the wires and stuff like that, but it seemed to work. I just used a little tiny dots, just kind of where I needed to position it. And you kind of have to pay attention when you're working with these, where exactly your light bulbs are going to be, so you can kind of spread those out evenly. And as you can see, I'm just kind of going back and forth. Not too much because I want to cover the entire back. I probably went a little too far over to the edges because I wasn't really thinking about the frame sitting on top of there. So keep that in mind. You might want to give yourself a little clearance around the edges for your lights. And all the way to the top, just hot gluing that down just with little tiny dots of hot glue. And you'll be able to see the light strings in the daytime, but not too much. I think you'll be able to see the blue color, so that'll be pretty. And then it's just a matter of putting it all together. I found you had to be really quick with this step. I'm going to hot glue all around the edges of the little triangular tree and pop this on as fast as I can, trying to block off any light that might escape out of the back of it. Now, once I got that on there, I kind of need to figure out some way to disguise the battery pack. And I thought, you know what? I could hide it just by attaching it to the back of the tree. That would be the easiest option. So I just glued it where I could still access the batteries to change that out and glued the cord to the back. Now, I thought I was done with it, but the only thing is by adding that battery pack to the back, I kind of made it like where it wanted to tip over a little bit. So I'm going to extend that little tree trunk out a little bit more to the back here with two more of the little Jenga blocks, and that made it stand up perfectly. And so our first DIY is complete, a little Scandinavian Christmas tree with a coastal touch. It's got this beautiful intricate pattern cut out in the Christmas tree and very simple shape of the Christmas tree. This is how mine looks during the daytime. You can see that beautiful blue peering through. We have the natural wood there for the tree trunk and the sides of it. And this is how it looks lit up. It's so pretty. I love making Christmas DIYs that light up. I love lights for Christmas. And this would look really pretty too in the blue. They have a blue light as well in those little battery operated lights from the Dollar Tree. So again, daytime and nighttime. Okay, the next DIY, I wanted to make a really cute little wood slice Christmas tree. I saw one similar for sale, and it was a Scandinavian Christmas decor. I think it's going to go perfect with my coastal decorations, and it turned out so pretty. So to start with, I'm going to use one of the little foam cones from the Dollar Tree. It's not too big, but it actually worked perfect for this. And then I want to cover the entire foam cone with masking tape. Now, there's two reasons why I'm doing that. I'm going to be hot gluing the wood slices from the Dollar Tree onto the foam, and so the masking tape is going to prevent it from melting the styrofoam, and the color is really nice. So if there's any gaps in between the wood slices, the color of the masking tape is going to be fine to be visible, but I was actually able to get really good coverage on this DIY. So just a matter of putting it on there. I kind of tear it when I get to the bottom until I cover the entire Christmas tree, just trying to make sure everything is down flat. Now, these are the wood slices we're going to use today. trying to remember how many packages I used. I think I ended up using 2, maybe 2.5 packages. We'll see here. And the Christmas tree that I saw that was made like this just had the wood slices coming out like this with the little edge exposed. So I just hot glue one on, overlapping the bottom of the tree just by the little ledge, right? That way it's going to kind of form the bottom, but I don't want any of the foam to be visible if possible. And I'm going to start working my way around the little cone shape by hot gluing them side by side, trying to get them all about the same length at the bottom, where they'll match up and the Christmas tree will be level. And this is kind of like crafting with driftwood, a little bit like putting together a puzzle. So you might need to lay out some of yours so you can space them out properly and get them to fit here without too big of a gap. So I noticed there was a slight variation in the size, but this is how it looks like after one layer. I thought I was going to have to go in and put some reinforcements underneath that to make it more stable. But you know what? I didn't need to. Actually, the whole project turned out really stable. I was really impressed. For this second layer, I'm going to glue, just like I did before, to the little masking tape. But I'm also gluing to the row below it. I'm trying to alternate between the two, but going around, you're going to have less and less, so it's going to be impossible to keep that pattern going. But I just want to kind of keep it random, if I can, the pattern between that row and the row underneath of it. So I just start gluing these on, gluing it to the masking tape, and then gluing it to the wood underneath of it. And it's probably one reason why this ended up so strong and sturdy at the end is that I was gluing wood to wood so much. So I got our second row complete, and I did open a third package, but I don't think I ended up using all of these. So you don't need too many of them. I absolutely love these things, the wood slices. I went ahead and pulled some hot glue around all the openings there while I could get to them. And then we're going to start with the third row, repeating the same pattern. By now, I'm a pro. So I was putting glue on the tip and putting glue towards the base of each one where it will line up perfectly to glue it to both surfaces. And again, just making sure that I can get that to fit. And trying to clean up any excess hot glue, any stringing hot glue as I go. And again, I'm going to pull a little bit of hot glue in each little gap just to make it a little bit stronger. And we can start here with row number 4. This actually really didn't take me very long to put together, and I absolutely love how it turned out. All the supplies were from the Dollar Tree, and it looks so high-end. I was so impressed with it. So as you can see, since I'm getting more towards the tip, I am using less every time around. And so I'm going to kind of map them out like 3 at a time here to kind of see what I can get to fit. I was trying to go with 3 of my skinniest ones, and I finally found 3 that will work, and just continue hot gluing those on. Now, the cone, the styrofoam cone from Dollar Tree doesn't have a very sharp tip at the top of it. I don't know why they're like that, but I'll show you what I do to kind of get around that. So again, I just pulled hot glue in my gaps to make it stronger, and we're going to start on this row. This is going to be like our second to last row, and we're just going all the way to the top of the foam here. The last kind of surface we kind of have to attach it to. And again, trying to find the perfect ones that are going to fit. A little bit of trial and error, and hot glue on those last couple pieces. I think I found a good combination, and we glued that straight on. Again, I'm going to pull the glue around. Now, at this point, I was kind of like, can I just glue to the wood below it? Because I do need a tip for my Christmas tree. I need it to all come together at the top. So I'll show you what I ended up doing. I'm going to start with one, just gluing it straight to the wood. And then I was like, you know what? I really do need something to glue it against. So I just took a little foam ball. It could be anything. It's way too big. So I'm just going to cut it down to size. And you could use a little wad of paper, just whatever you have. You're just going to need some kind of tip here, just something to glue the wood to provide a little stability up here on the top. So I just glue that to the very top of my foam cone, and then I glue that wood slice directly to it. And then we're going to kind of continue the same thing that we were doing before, making sure that we get all of the wood to come together here. So I'm trying to see exactly how many I can fit around here. And as you can see, I guess probably, yeah, 2.5 packages of those wood slices to do the side tree. Then for the center, I just pull some more glue in there to make it super strong. And then I had a small gap, and there was actually a broken little wood slice on one of my packages, so I thought I might as well just take advantage. And I took that little broken wood slice and just put it right inside to fill in my gap on the top of my tree. And this is how it turned out. Little wood slice Christmas tree. I think it's so beautiful. The natural wood color, just leaving it raw wood like this, really goes with like the Scandinavian Christmas feel. And it's gonna look so beautiful with all of my coastal Christmas decorations as well. So this is how it turned out, my little wood slice Christmas tree. I think it looks very professional, and everything, of course, was from the Dollar Tree. So probably about $5. The $1.25 throws me off. Okay, the next DIY, this might be my favorite. I found an old piece of driftwood at the beach. I just needed something straight. If you don't have any driftwood, you could always use a stick or even like a plunger handle or something like that. You just need something straight across the top. And then we're going to use some of the little wood slice ornaments from the Dollar Tree. Now, these are the actual ornaments that have holes already drilled in them, but you could also use their ones that don't have the holes drilled in them, because we're actually going to have to drill more holes in them to do this DIY. I want to do a really beautiful Scandinavian wall hanging for Christmas with the wood feel. We're gonna have the wood slices, we're gonna have the macrame cord, and we're gonna have some Christmas greenery. So I saw a couple projects I really liked, and I kind of combined them together to get something that was perfect. So they already have a hole on one side of them for the ornament hanger, so I just go in with my drill, and I'm gonna put a hole on the other side, and making sure that their hole was drilled plenty large so that I can get that Dollar Tree macrame cord through easily. I'm gonna do a total of 3 of these ornaments, so 1 whole package for the middle of this one, and then I'm gonna do 2 more on each side. How many you need kind of depends on how long you want yours to be, and how wide you want it to be. You can always make it wider. I'm gonna do just 3 columns of the little wood slices. So I'm going to do 2, 3, 2 is my pattern, because I want it to be longer in the middle to hang down for like my macrame wall hanging. So I got all of my wood slices drilled, and I'm going to use a combination of this beautiful greenery and just wood beads. So this is called snow greenery. I got this from the Dollar Tree this year, and we're just going to kind of cut this down. I want to leave some of the stem on this, and we can use that to tie up to the macrame cord to make this beautiful wall hanging. I think this turned out so beautiful. I mean, it is Christmas, but it is something that you could leave up all winter long. I really think the colors and everything just goes together so well. So I have 2 packages of the snow greenery. I'm gonna go ahead and cut it all down. I end up not using it all. Some of them have 1 piece of greenery on it, and some have 2. So I'm kind of mapping out what I want to use. I was thinking I was going to do like a total of 1 on each side, right? And then 2 on the ends. I ended up using a total of 4, even though I started here thinking that I was going to use a total of 6. Now, this is the Dollar Tree macrame cord. It comes in several different packages. I don't know if they're different links or not. This is the one that was just in a bundle. It doesn't matter. It's all the same thing. And I love crafting with this. It is so great. If you can't find the macrame cord, you could probably use white yarn and get a pretty close replication to this. But what I'm going to do is just kind of make a needle end by using hot glue, and then just molding that when it gets dry to make a little hard surface. So it's going to make it easier to thread through everything I need to thread through for this. I'm just using some wood beads from my stash. You can get wood beads like this from the Dollar Tree. And you could totally use those as well. So the first thing I did was string a bead on, and then I'm going to go through my little wood slice and then back through it, bringing it through to the front. When I ended up displaying mine, I had it where the macrame yarn that goes through it is on the back, so you don't really see that part. So you mostly see a wood slice. Then I'm going to put on another wood bead. The width of the hole in the wood beads was nice and tight up against my macrame cord, so I didn't really have to tie any knots to be able to kind of keep that where I want it. And so for now, it's great because I can just kind of move that around. I did another wood slice and another wood bead, and then we're going to finish it up with the third wood slice. It was pretty easy to thread that through. Then I'm going to wrap that around the center of my piece of driftwood here and just tie that off in a simple knot, letting that hang down to the center of our little piece, cutting off the excess twine. Make sure you get your knots tied tightly because you don't want this to fall apart. Now, once I have that, I kind of figure out how long I want it to be, and I'm going to make a very small tassel because it's only one piece of cord here in the bottom by tying a knot and then just unraveling and combing out the macrame cord to form a little tassel. These are very small tassels. You can always make larger ones. I didn't really want to take away too much from the overall design of this one, so we're going to leave that as so, just kind of cutting it off into a little tassel. So we have our first piece done, and we can keep on going. The only thing I don't like about the macrame cord in that package is it does get a little tangly. So I'm going to start a new piece here by hot gluing the end, just like we did before, and we're going to repeat the same pattern. So I did a wood bead, a wood slice, and then we're going to do another wood bead and then our second wood slice. This one's going to go over on the left side of our wall hanging, and I want it to hang just like that. So I just put it around my driftwood piece again, double knotting that at the top and cutting off my excess line. Then I'm going to use my first one as reference to see how long I want my tassel to be. And I'm going to do the knot in the same place. And then I can kind of measure and cut that down to size. Then just like before, I'm just going to unravel all the extra macrame cord and comb it out into a little mini tassel. So we have our first two wood slice rows done. And so it's going to gradually be shorter on each side and then work its way down to a point in the middle, which works really well for a wall hanging like this. And we're going to do the same thing here on the other one. So I just grab my macrame cord again. I don't cut it in advance. I kind of leave it all attached so I can make it whatever size I need it to be. And I do a wood bead and a wood slice. Some of the wood slices are kind of thick and chunky like this one. If I couldn't get it to go through, I just used a little Cricut weeder to kind of help push it through a little bit, and that seemed to help. And a wood bead and another wood slice. Then we're going to tie this one off on the driftwood as well, trying to keep it evenly spaced. That's when I kind of realized, I'm probably going to have room for about 5 of the greenery there because I don't want it too far close to the edges. And I'm going to just tie a knot, trim it down to size, and unravel and comb this little mini tassel as well. It's going to be worth it, all this effort. This DIY turned out so pretty. I love it. I can't wait to put this up this year. Now for the next one, I'm going to go ahead and take my macrame cord and just tie the knot to the top, just like we did before. And this is going to hold the little Christmas greenery. So I'm just going to cut off a length of that and then go in. I'm going to use the ones that have the 2 greenery on it to make it a little bit fuller. And I'm just going to simply tie a knot on the stem of my greenery, and it's going to hang straight down. So I double knot that to make that secure. And how simple is that, right? We're going to do the same thing here on the other side, and I'm making it where it's going to fall a nice length in between the 2 wood slices on each side. So I want this one to be about the same place. So I just tied that on, trimmed it down to size, double knotted the greenery here, and you can always slide that up and down if you need to kind of get that to hang properly. That's when I decided I can only do a total of, I guess, 4. I don't know why I was saying 5. And I'm just going to knot more of the macrame cord here on the top. As you can see, I really don't have much more room on this piece of driftwood. And then I want that to hang down a little bit higher than the wood slice next to it. So I cut my macrame cord down and just knot this. And again, this is super forgiving if you don't get it on there exactly the right size. You can always readjust later if you need to. And we're going to do the same thing here on our final row. Just double knotting the macrame cord to the top, trimming that down to size, making a knot, and tying this one off. So no bright colors or anything like that with the Scandinavian Christmas decor. I really love the hygge feel of decor, all this natural wood and the greenery and the whites and stuff like that. I think this kind of matches everything that has to do with that style. Now for the top, we're going to use the same macrame cord, and I just wrap it around here at the end, trying to tie it nice and tight to keep everything else on so it won't slide off the end. Cut off a long piece of that, pull it on the other side. We're going to tie it off over here too. Now, make sure you get these super tight. I only double tied mine and they felt like they were kind of loose. So I did go back and triple tie mine to make sure that those stay in place, but that was the final step of our little wood slice and greenery wall hanging for Christmas. I absolutely love how this turned out. So let me show you how it looks hanging up. Those wood slices from the Dollar Tree are absolutely gorgeous. And combined with the greenery, it's just so subtle and beautiful for Christmas decor. And I like the little accents of the wood beads as well. It really kind of goes with the feel of it. But isn't that lovely? I absolutely loved how this DIY turned out. Okay, next DIY. Look at this. Dollar Tree redesigned these signs that I'm always complaining about. They fixed the hanger to make it where you can hang it on the back. And they use nails now. So the back is actually attached and you don't have to like restaple it on. So Dollar Tree, if you're watching, thank you for fixing those signs. I love it. And then I made a printable design, and I will be sure to share this with you. I went to AI and I said, I want you to design me a Scandinavian folk art Christmas print, right? But I want it to be like blue colors on a white background, and I want it to be sea creatures. And I thought, there is no way AI is going to come up with something cool. And look at this cool Christmas tree it designed for me. It's beautiful, like Scandinavian folk art style. There's little fish, seashells, little fun touches like that. And I just printed mine out on an 8.5 by 11 regular size piece of cardstock to make it extra sturdy for Mod Podging it onto a Dollar Tree sign. And that sign is about 8.5 inches wide inside the frame. So I just had to trim it down a little bit to get it to fit. I don't care if there is a small border around the side. It has a wood frame, so that's going to be perfect. So this DIY couldn't be any easier. Basically, you're going to print out your printable if you like the cool design, the sea creature Scandinavian folk art. I'm going to put a rather thick layer of Mod Podge on the back of the Dollar Tree sign. And then we can just lay the cardstock right on top. I like using cardstock because you don't get any of the wrinkling with your Mod Podge. It makes everything go so quickly. You don't have to wait for the Mod Podge under it to dry before Mod Podging the top. And it's just so easy. I just pick up cardstock by the ream at Target. Really easy to find as well. And then I just go over the top of it with another layer of Mod Podge, sealing that down, kind of giving it like a painting, a feeling, and a really nice matte texture. I'm using the matte Mod Podge. And we're just going to leave the frame, the wood, that's going to go well with the Scandinavian style. And I was really impressed with AI for making this cool image. Sometimes you don't know what you're going to get, but you can see there's like little fish and there's seashells, and it's just really beautiful. It's Christmas, it's blues. I love this. So I'll be sure to include the free printable below for you so that you can recreate this piece. And if you can't find this sign at the Dollar Tree, you could always put this on just about whatever you have. And this is how it turned out. I told you this one was going to be easy. Look at that beautiful folk art style with all of the little Christmas ornaments and snowflakes, and then a few sea creatures and things thrown in there as well, just for fun. I love it, and it was so simple to make. This is going to look great with my decor this year. Hey guys, I wanted to take a quick moment out of today's video and let you know about my Facebook group. I have it linked in the description below. We would love to see what you're crafting over there, and you'll find out when I'm posting new videos. I also have Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest, and my handle is Crafty Beach on YouTube, and I would love to see you over there. Back to the DIYs. For the next one, I wanted to do a wood bead snowman wreath. So I picked up a wood bead wreath from the Dollar Tree. And then I wanted a smaller size for the head. So I picked up a 3-pack of just the wire reforms. And this is the smaller one because I wanted the head of the snowman to be a little smaller. So it's super easy to break that in half right at its welding point. And I'm going to make my own little wood bead wreath, just a smaller size to coordinate with the one that I got at the Dollar Tree. So I'm actually just using Dollar Tree wood beads. These are the ones that are already strung together, but you know, they have these in packages too. And it's almost the same size as the wood beads that they used on theirs. And so I think it's going to go really nice together. I was thinking of like a Scandinavian design because it's going to be like natural wood colors, and then we can add some greenery and some fun touches to it. It's just going to be very subtle. Snowman wall hanging, or you could use this as a wreath. So it's just a matter of covering this entire little reform with wood beads. When I got to the end, I wasn't sure if I should fill it all the way up or leave a small gap. And I decided to leave a small gap. It's going to make it easier to gather the reform back together. So as you can see, there was kind of room for one more wood bead, but we're going to use the 2 wires coming together there and kind of marry those together. So I'm just going to start with taking a piece of twine. And then I'm also going to use hot glue. So it's going to be hot glued together and it's going to be tied together to keep that together. I tie a double knot, and then I can use that same twine to tie it where the wreath form comes together here on the larger wood bead wreath. That's going to be the body of my snowman. If you wanted a 3-piece snowman, you could keep going and do another one of those wood bead wreaths, but it's going to end up being pretty long. So depends on how big you want your snowman to be. I think 2 is going to be plenty for mine. So that was super easy to attach those together. Now we just need to figure out how to design a snowman hat and like little snowman arms. So I picked up just a craftwood square from the Dollar Tree, and I have a Dollar Tree wood ruler that I thought we could use for the brim to make a classic looking snowman hat. Now all you have to do is peel the stickers off on these, and you have a great piece of wood that you can always cut down to size. So I just peeled the stickers off mine, took mine to my saw, cut it down into the right size, and now it's just a matter of trying to put this together. Now I'm going to show you how I did it. I ended up doing something different, but my first attempt, I was going to put the hanger at the top like that, and I wanted my snowman hat to kind of tilt off to the side. I ended up changing the style because it just physically didn't work like I thought it would, but I'll take you through all the steps. So I'm just going to drill a couple holes in my little craft wood from Dollar Tree so that I can string that to my wood bead wreath for the head of the snowman. And again, I wanted mine to tilt, so I thought I could kind of put it off to the side here, and I'll kind of show you why it doesn't work. I put twine through each one of my holes that I drew on there, and then I just tied that to my wood bead wreath. Now, I wasn't sure if this was going to work because is that going to be like stay against the wall or the door, or is it going to kind of fold forward? I went ahead and attached like the brim of my hat thinking that if I glued the 2 together, that would make it plenty stable. But then I took it and tried to hang it up, and it wasn't real stable. So we're going to have to slightly change the design of the snowman, and I'll show you what I did to fix him. So this is me deciding, yeah, plan B. I don't think he's going to be able to have a tilted hat. He's going to have a straight hat. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove that. I already kind of did that, so I left it in. Not all of our plans always work, but I can also show you what I did to fix it. So I just took everything apart. We're going to go in here again, and we're going to string it directly to the top of the snowman. That way we can make that the hanging piece for the entire wreath. And it actually turned out really cute, even though it wasn't what I originally designed. I'm going to find the middle of this piece of wood to drill a hole so we can make a hanger. And so I just kind of measured it, drilled a hole in there. That way, that's going to be nice and centered. And we're going to kind of put it together the same way, except the snowman's going to be wearing his hat straight. And I actually liked it better that way. So do it this way, not the way I did it. So again, I'm going to take some Dollar Tree twine and just string this in. I have the brown and white twine, but you can use whatever you've got. I just happen to have this on my work desk. And then I'm trying to count how many wood beads I have so I can try to get this on evenly. I found that if you count it more than once, you get a different number every time. So I'm trying again to see if I have it on there right, because it did not look right. And you know what? I did not have it on there right. So I'm going to kind of rearrange it and then tie that off, make sure everything's the center, pull all of my twine to the back of the wreath so you won't be able to see any of that, right? And then double knot it, and that I can trim off the excess twine back there. I'm actually doing the voiceover for this DIY video in the Keys right now. We're in Marathon celebrating my son's 19th birthday. We're having so much fun here, but I had the video done, but it didn't have the voiceover done. So I wanted to get this up this weekend for y'all so you can have some more Christmas content. So I am finishing this video off down here. I'm just going to now go ahead and take the ruler, glue that to our little snowman sign. And I just tied a simple knot for the hanger at the very top. And we have the structure of the snowman. Now it's going to be just the simple round shapes for the head and the body, but I wanted them to have little snowman arms. So this is the greenery we used for our wall hanging from Dollar Tree, and it's already wired. So I just put that around my wreath form in between two wood beads, stringing that around, and it's going to stick out to the side like little greenery arms for our snowman. And it actually worked really well. It was super easy. I'm going to again count my wood beads so I can get my little arms even. And I'm just going to wrap the wire around the wire from the wreath form. And we have two little arms. That could not be easier, and it goes perfect with the Scandinavian style. Now, I picked up this eucalyptus at the Dollar Tree that I think is so beautiful too. This is in with their Christmas greenery as well. It has the beautiful eucalyptus, and it's got like little flowers on it as well. I thought this would be the perfect thing to decorate like the neck of the snowman. You could always do a scarf, but I kind of wanted to go with the greenery effect so it'll just be like greenery and wood on the snowman. And I love the contrast. It's so beautiful together. So I just take a two-piece of the leaves that are attached together. I'm going to go ahead and leave all my leaves attached together and just glue that to my wood beads, and we're going to decorate the little neck of the snowman. I want to kind of fill it in like you would do like the bottom of a wreath or something like that, but again, it's going to also serve to kind of cover that area of the snowman between the two little body parts. So I'm just kind of feeling it out. I don't want it to be super symmetrical, so I glued on two more of the two leaves, and then I'm going to glue another one on here, kind of mixing up which direction it's going and stuff like that. I want it to look kind of random and not super symmetrical down here. And then gluing the little flower in as well. And the colors on that eucalyptus go so well with the colors on the greenery that we use there for the little snowman arms. So I like it. I think it's really pretty, but I think it needs a little bit more. So I'm going to take a few more off. And the easiest way to do this is just to pull it off of the greenery. It comes apart really easily. You don't need to cut it or anything like that. And I'm just going to kind of build this out a little bit more, gluing them to each other and also gluing them to the wood bead wreath there. Just so it's nice and full. Kind of like that. I thought about making it come down like a scarf, but I thought I might not be able to pull that off. We're going to make it just the neck area. So just a few more little pieces here until I'm happy with it. And I thought maybe one more over here. And basically that's all there is to it. We're going to leave the wood natural color for the hat and for the wood beads. It goes with the Scandinavian Christmas decor. It goes with my coastal decor as well. And it turned out so cute. I haven't decided if I'm going to use this indoor or outdoor. Since everything's tied together with twine, I don't see why it would not hold up well outdoor. I do have a white door though, so I don't know if it's going to have, I think it might look better on my tan, like brownish walls in my home. But this is our little snowman. Isn't he so adorable? I absolutely love him. Okay, the next DIY, we're going to take a couple of just the chunky wood houses from the Dollar Tree. I tried to pick up two that were different. One's taller, has a chimney, and one is wider, shorter. And we're going to do some little Scandinavian Christmas inspired houses. I've seen these for sale a lot where it's kind of like a real wood with like a beautiful design painted on it with white. So we're going to try to recreate with Dollar Tree. So Antique Wax by Waverly I think is going to be way too dark. So I start by mixing it with water to dilute it down to make the stain lighter. Now, since these are going to be like little chunky houses that I can sit around in my Christmas decor, you're going to be able to see them from the front. You're going to be able to see them from the side. So I'm going to have to go in and stain all the surfaces. But as you can see, since they are made out of real wood, they're going to stain beautifully. And I just go over the front of it with my diluted stain and wipe off the excess with a paper towel. And I will have to go ahead and try to stain the sides as well. Just kind of cleaning those up with a paper towel as I go. Now, this is going to be the front side, so I'm going to go ahead and do my most perfect stain on this side. So I do this one last. And I stained it. I found that this side, they didn't stain quite as dark as I wanted, so I just added a little bit more Antique Wax by Waverly into my water to make it a little bit darker of a stain, and I was happier with that because I wanted something that would contrast with the white paint. Now, I thought about going on my Cricut and making a really intricate Scandinavian design of a house, but I thought, you know, let's be creative and make it ourselves. So I'm just using a white paint pen. I'm using Posca. They're my favorite paint pens. I have them linked in my Amazon shop below. You can get them on at Target, but I find that they're cheaper on Amazon. So be sure to check those out if you're in the market for paint pens because they work so well. And I use white all the time, so this is probably my favorite one. So I'm using some references online for how I kind of want my house to set up. I kind of Googled an image of little Scandinavian wooden houses, and I just drew a simple door on and some simple windows. And my windows were not perfectly level with each other, but hey, this is going to be like folk art, right? We're going to make our own thing. I'm just going to go over it, making sure everything is nice and bold and white. And then I'm going to do a line here using a ruler for the top of my little house. And you can decorate yours however you wanted. I thought I had plenty of room here under the windows, so I did two little triangular like Christmas trees and then some smaller ones next to it. That really goes with the Scandinavian feel. And then I decided to do a little snowflake. So I'm going to do little hanging snowflakes on this one. So I did a larger one on this one, and I kind of looked online, kind of see a good design for a snowflake. And then I'm going to do like just some little zigzags here. I thought that would be cute on the roof. And then we'll fill out the front of the house with some smaller snowflakes as well, with like little strings, like little hanging snowflakes on the front of our little Scandinavian house. I did another line, and then I did triangles in my pattern on the roof to kind of represent a Christmas tree. I did polka dots to represent snow, some smaller little snowflakes, and even a little heart I thought would be cute on the chimney. I finished it off with some more dots to kind of make it look like snow, and then I just traced around the borders of mine, so you can really have fun with these and put whatever you want on them. Again, if you want them to be perfect, you could always make a stencil with your Cricut, but I think half the fun of this DIY was kind of coming up with my own pattern. So that is the first house. We're going to display these together. I think these are going to look great displayed with like little green Christmas trees, like little bottle brush trees. I think that would be so pretty together. Or some like more sculptural cone shaped ones from like the Target Dollar Spot or something like that. Now for our little second house, I'm going to do a little bit different style door, like a little fancy window here on top. And I decided to mix it up on this one. I decided to do just one window, and then we could do like trees on the other side. That way we can make them bigger. And I just did two different styles of trees and a Scandinavian pattern. I did a little window for the attic, and then I decided to decorate the roof of this one with like a simple triangular Christmas tree shape. So I just did little Christmas trees all over, just kind of randomly, filling that in with little dots to represent snow. And I just keep decorating it. I did zigzags, and then I did stars. That kind of reminds me of Christmas too, right here in front of the house. And a few more dots for snow. And we're going to sketch out the sides of this one too with my paint pen just to kind of outline it and give little trunks to all my trees and kind of make my zigzags a little bit sharper. But how fun was this? I loved making these myself. I'm so glad that I decided to freehand it instead of going with a pattern because they are uniquely my own. But again, if you need inspiration, you can use mine, or you can go online and find some of these for sale and kind of design yours accordingly. Kind of did my own thing, but I used like little pieces from different ones that I found online. Just going to kind of update my stain here on the side. This side of them is the only part that I found was a little bit harder to stain properly. But otherwise, I'm super happy with them. So we have two of the little Scandinavian Christmas little wood houses. The natural wood and the white totally goes with the theme. And I think it's really cute to get more than one, to get them in different sizes. You could do a whole village of these if you had room for them in your Christmas decor. And if you had some littles that wanted to get involved with a DIY project for Christmas, I think they would really have fun with this one. Okay, for the next Scandinavian Christmas DIY, I found these great glass bottles with little lights in them on the cork at Dollar Tree. These are new. I've never seen these before. They have them in colored glass as well, but I wanted clear glass because I wanted to do like a traditional Scandinavian Christmas decor piece. So I'm not going to need the little corks with the lights on them, but I'm totally saving those for another DIY because that's a great small battery pack. Now, this is a tradition in a Scandinavian Christmas decor. They take clear glass bottles and greenery. You can use real greenery from Christmas trees if you have it. I'm going to use what's left over from the greenery we were using earlier, and I'm just going to cut them into individual pieces and put those down inside the bottle. So you're going to have the combination of the clear glass, the greenery, and they put white candles in the top of them, and they put them in their windows for Christmas, is what I was reading. So I had one more, so I'm going to kind of shove that down inside one so that one looks a little bit different. You can see what it looks like when it's a little bit fuller, but how cool are these glass bottles? And they're the perfect size for these little emergency candles from the Dollar Tree. The little 4-hour candles, I thought this was going to work so well. You could always do it with a longer pillar candle, but I like the shorter ones. They're kind of short and stubby. They fit perfectly right inside the top of the glass bottle. All you got to do is kind of push those down right inside. And this DIY couldn't be any easier. I did a total of 3. I don't think I really have any windows to display them in, so I think I'm just going to display them with my Christmas decor. But look how beautiful and subtle that style is. I absolutely love how these turned out. And I love learning about like little Christmas traditions that they do in other parts of the world. And again, I really love the Scandinavian style for Christmas. It just feels very simplistic and cozy. So this is how mine turned out. Let me show you how they look when I have the candles lit. They are all very securely in the top of those glass bottles. And so I'm not worried about them falling over or anything like that. And this is how they all look lit up for Christmas decor. I really love that Scandinavian style. Okay, guys, up next, we're going to have coastal Christmas ornament DIYs using supplies from the Dollar Tree. Enjoy. So the first thing we're going to DIY is one of these little ceramic tags from the Crafter Square at Dollar Tree. I think this is the perfect size for an ornament. I'm just going to go ahead and remove the rope to kind of get it out of the way. And then I designed this great image for this ornament. It says, "Leave a light on for Santa." I designed this with AI to do kind of a Christmas lighthouse scene. I thought that'd be perfect for a coastal Christmas. And I will share my Google Drive today with you of any printables or cut files that I use to make any of these ornaments. I've got quite a variety for you today, so stay tuned. Now, I designed this to size, but only as a rectangle, so I do kind of need to kind of cut off the corners. I thought it would be easier to do it now than once I got it on there, so I just sketched that out with a pencil, and then I can just cut out the corners, kind of rounding them a little bit, until it's the right size for a little tag ornament. And I love these little ceramic tags. I mean, that's going to make a really durable Christmas ornament. It's just a matter of Mod Podging this on, and I'm just making sure that I have it cut down to size. I don't want any of the cardstock like hanging over the sides. And I always print my printables out on cardstock because they're easier to Mod Podge. You don't have to worry about wrinkling. You don't really have to wait for this coat to dry. So I just put a nice thick coat on there, lay my cardstock down on top, and kind of smooth it out with a dry paper towel. Once I get that on there, I can just go ahead and go over the top of it with another coat. And then I'm going to give that a quick dry, and then I'm going to come back in with a second coat of Mod Podge just to make sure that it is really good and sealed. Once I have that dry, I'm going to go in with just a sanding block, make sure that no paper's hanging over the edges, everything's nice and rounded, everything's secure. And then we can go in, and I kind of wanted to give it a little bit of a coastal farmhouse vibe, so just giving it a very light dry brush just to kind of break up the perfect print of the printer, and then kind of wipe off the excess with a baby wipe, just leaving that very light distress on there that I love so much for the coastal farmhouse vibe. Making it look a little beachy. And then it's just a matter of finding where the hole is in this and kind of poking it out. I like to use my Cricut weeder for that. And I was able to avoid my word, so that's good. And then I'm just going to take some Dollar Tree twine. I'm going to thread that through. I like to tie mine all the way to the ornament like that and then come up and tie it. I find that it hangs a little bit better on my Christmas tree like that. And here it is, our first ornament. Leave a light on for Santa. So coastal and cute for Christmas. And again, I have a total of 30 coastal Christmas DIYs for you today. I know this is going to be a longer video, so I'll be sure to include chapters below. I'll try. Hopefully it'll let me do it for 30. It does have a limit, a size limit for the description, but I will try to leave timestamps below if you want to kind of jump around, but I wouldn't because there's lots of cute DIYs today. Now the next DIY, I wanted to make a lobster trap buoy ornament, and I couldn't find anything that was shaped like that, so we're gonna make it. So I'm using a Dollar Tree foam block. These are the ones that come in the individual pieces. And I want it to be kind of square. So I was kind of measuring mine so I would know where to cut it. And I'm gonna cut it with like the little pool noodle cutters from the Dollar Tree. They work pretty well for foam. But I'm kind of flipping it over as I go to make sure that I get a nice kind of clean cut and nothing breaks off too crazy there. And this is what we're going to mold into our little lobster trap buoy. I've got like just kind of a rectangular piece right now, and so I just kind of need to shave off the top because I need that distinctive shape that's on the top of a buoy. So I just kind of shave off at an angle, and I'm going to do that on all four sides. I start at the top and then go to the bottom to try to make sure that nothing breaks off kind of funny. And this stuff is pretty moldable at this point, so if you don't get it just right, you can kind of work with it to make it look perfect. You can even mold it a little bit with your fingers. It's so moldable at this point. We will seal it and paint it, so hopefully it will lose some of that. But that is what it looks like right now. A little miniature lobster trap buoy. Now for the hole, I'm just going to use the bottom of a paintbrush to kind of poke a hole through there. It works perfect for that. Large enough that we can put some twine through there for a rope. And then this part is kind of crucial. I'm going to seal the entire thing with Mod Podge because we're going to go in and paint it. And right now the paint doesn't have anything to stick to because that foam is like very crumbly and stuff like that. And so I'm going over the whole thing, every side, the top and bottom, with Mod Podge. And we're gonna let that dry, and it's gonna kind of give us more of a solid surface where we can work with. Now I've made a larger version of these like lobster trap buoys out of the larger pieces of foam for 4th of July, so I knew I could do it, but I really love how this turned out with the miniature size. So this is what it looks like all dried, so you can kind of see that it's more of a solid surface now. And now I'm going to go in with some ivory acrylic, and we're going to paint all the areas with that. I thought we would do a couple different colors on this to make it look beachy. If you wanted to do red and white stripes for like a candy cane theme or more of Christmas colors, you totally can, but I'm going to stick with the blues and stuff like that most of my coastal Christmas tree is already decorated in. And after I've made all of these ornaments today, my Christmas tree is going to look spectacular this year. I'm so excited. And coastal Christmas ornaments are super easy to make. You'll see some of these projects today are just so easy. I made about half of these yesterday. And then half of them are some of the coastal Christmas ornaments that I did last year. And that will be later on in the video today. So now for the blue part, I'm using my favorite color, Cloudless Acrylic by Apple Barrel. And it's kind of tricky, this part. I wanted to do the top part of the buoy in blue, but you really don't want to use painter's tape on this. I know from experience, it's not going to go well for you. So I'm trying to get straight lines, and I was kind of struggling with that, but I kind of just kept adding to it until I finally got some straight lines. And I want it to be kind of striped too. So I'm going to go back and kind of touch up my line to make it straighter and add a ivory stripe just to kind of break it up a little bit, kind of make it look more realistic. So I just kind of straighten up all those lines just by going back in there with the ivory. And then I'm just going to use one of these small brushes, you know, from the Dollar Tree to do lines, and that worked out pretty well. I'm used to being able to use painter's tape for lines, so I was like, man, this is hard trying to get this straight. But again, it's going to be handmade. It doesn't have to be perfect. And I absolutely love how cute this little lobster trap buoy turned out. It is adorable. So I'm just going over it with a couple coats to make sure that I cover the blue that is underneath. And otherwise, I think it's ready to go. I'm not going to add any numbers or anything to mine, but you totally could. You could put 1225 or something like that. I considered it, but it's kind of a small buoy, and I kind of liked the simplicity of just the stripes. So then I'm going to take some Dollar Tree twine and feed it through the little hole that we put here on the top of the buoy. And carefully pull that through. I don't want to mess anything up. And then we can just use that to tie it and make a simple little ornament hanger where it's kind of knotted here at the top. And it's very lightweight. This could go like on any Christmas tree branch. It's not going to weigh hardly anything. And I love how this turned out. I really tried to find something the shape of this, and I'm like, you know what? Nothing is shaped like this at Dollar Tree. Definitely going to have to make it from scratch. But look how cute it turned out. It looks just like a little blue and white striped buoy. This is how it looks hanging on my little Christmas tree that I got at Dollar Tree Plus this year. It's such a cute little tree. And it's great for displaying ornaments like this. Isn't that so cute? Okay, next DIY, I thought we could use some Dollar Tree wood stems, and we could do like dock pilings, you know, where you see like the 3 logs tied together, you know, something that you could like tie your boat to. And so I'm going through my wood stems, and I'm trying to find 3 pieces that are kind of the same size that have flat tops that would make good piling. So little bit of trial and error. These things are all different shapes and sizes until I get 3 that I kind of like together. And we're going to do it like that. 1 shorter, 1 medium, and 1 longer. Then I'm just going to take some twine and just burning off the fuzzies on that. We're going to make a hanger. I don't really have any kind of hook or an eye for this, so I'm going to show you what I did instead. I'm just going to tie the twine into a loop, knotting it like that. And then I can kind of hide that knot inside the middle of the ornament in between all 3 of the logs. So I just picked up my shorter log, and I'm going to hot glue it here to one side. This is going to be the inside of the ornament. And it's a quick, easy way to make these without like using hook and eyes and stuff like that, which I tried to do, but I don't think I have any of those. And then it's just a matter of attaching them. So I'm just going to glue these two little wood stems together, putting the third one here on top in that cute little piling fashion. And then they always look really good if they are like wrapped with rope. It makes them look a little bit more authentic. So I take some more Dollar Tree twine, burn off those fuzzies, and then we can just wrap these little wood stems. And I just start off by kind of like just tying them off. This is also going to help keep them together. And then I decided I kind of wanted my knot to be here on the back. We're not really going to be able to see it. So I kind of moved that around. And then once I get that on there, I can use the excess twine to wrap it around a couple of times. I think 3 times around looks pretty good. And then I'm just going to kind of tie this off in the back, kind of like I did before. So that will stay tight and keep everything together. Now I wanted to decorate this with something that was Christmas, but nothing too crazy, something that was going to go with the coastal feel of my Christmas tree. So I decided to use some of the little jingle bells from Dollar Tree. And maybe just string a couple of these. We can kind of rope those on to the nautical pilings there. I thought that'd be really cute. So I'm going to use 2 of those and some thinner Dollar Tree twine here, where I can just kind of tie that off. So one little jingle bell can hang on one side, and then I'm going to do the same thing here on the other. Just kind of making a little chain there that I can kind of put around the twine that we've already attached to the pilings. So I'm just going to kind of feed my bell through here so I can kind of loop that around, kind of twist that together so it's right there on the front of my ornament, and just kind of secure it with a little bit of hot glue to kind of keep it in place. Now I wanted to decorate it with something that I would see like over at the lagoon or something like that with these little pilings, and I thought it needed a bird of some kind. So what we're going to add is one of the little summertime fairy garden pelicans, the beach themed. I thought this one would be perfect. I can just sit him like right here on like the medium sized piling like that, and he's going to be the perfect little final touch to this DIY. And this is how it turned out. I think it's so cute, our little nautical pilings. They're very coastal, even kind of a nautical feel, and I love the little pelican on there. The jingle bells give a little hint of Christmas, but super cute. I've never made nautical pilings before. I've always wanted to, but I think they turned out really cute. And the little wood stems from the Dollar Tree are the perfect item to do that. If you can't find any, I guess you could always take a pretty straight stick and cut it into different size pieces, as long as it was pretty small. Now for the next DIY, we're going to use these little wood slices from the Dollar Tree. I love these things. Every time I see them, I try to stock up on them. Even some of my smaller stores are getting these, so if you can't find them at your store, keep checking. They're probably going to go fast. What I want to do is kind of pick out pieces. I'm trying to like make it kind of random. As you can see, the different pieces all are a little bit different finish and stuff like that of wood. I kind of wanted a random pattern, and I want to put them all together and make a little driftwood Christmas tree ornament. So I'm going to leave one long, and then I'm just going to start trimming them down a little bit shorter each time. Now I'm using my miter scissors that I got on Amazon. I think, these are available in my Amazon shop below. Mine, I don't know if they're getting dull, but I did struggle a little bit cutting through these. I mean, they are kind of thick, but I had to use a lot of hand muscles to get these to cut. I don't know, is there a way to sharpen these, I wonder? I'm going to have to look into that. I wonder if I need to replace something on them, but man, they were kind of fighting me a little bit, but I persevered. So as you can see, I'm just cutting every one just a little bit shorter. I'm not really measuring or anything like that. I'm just kind of seeing how it looks. And I just want to keep doing that until I get to the top of the little Christmas tree point. And this turned out so cute. I was trying to think of a way I could do a driftwood tree, and I'm glad I decided to do this way because I think this was probably the easiest method that I could find. And again, anytime I can use these little wood slices from the Dollar Tree, I am totally going to. So I think that looks pretty good. Looks like a Christmas tree shape, and I can even put a small one down here at the bottom for the Christmas tree trunk. Now to put it all together, I'm just taking some Dollar Tree twine and tying it to the very top piece for a Christmas tree, and then we can make that the hanger. So I made it plenty long. I just double knot it there and then form a loop here at the top and tie it at the top, and we've got our little ornament hanger built in. I love using twine rather than hooks whenever I can to hang my ornaments. I think it looks nicer, and it's easier, I think, too. And then we're just going to start by hot gluing our different pieces of driftwood together. Now, I wasn't sure how sturdy the hot glue was going to be between all these because, you know, they are round. So I do end up going back and reinforcing this. I'll show you later on in the DIY to make it super strong, and it looks cute too. So again, I'm just going to hot glue them one piece at a time. This is going to be the back, so I'm not too worried about hot glue on this side, but I was trying not to get too much hot glue on the other side. I did get some, but I was able to clean it up with my heat gun to kind of melt it a little bit. The heat gun that I'm using kind of squirts out like a lot of hot glue. I tried some of the smaller tips on it, and I didn't have a lot of luck with them. I kind of switched back to my standard size. Probably more of a fine tip hot glue gun would kind of cure that too much hot glue situation. But this was what I had heated up and ready to use. So I went ahead and used it. And we're just going to assemble it all the way down. And I'm not going to do too much decorating to this tree. I think it's pretty cute on its own. I do a little bit though. So we have it all assembled, and then I wanted to go in and kind of reinforce it a little bit again to make it stronger. And I thought the easiest way to do that would be to add something to the back, and I decided burlap would be a good option for that. So I'm going to use some burlap ribbon from the Dollar Tree. So I'm just going to cut it into like a little triangular piece that's going to be a little bit smaller than my tree, so you won't be able to see it from the front. And then I'm just going to hot glue that to the back. That way it's going to kind of give everything like a little patch back there that's going to keep it together and everything attached. It's going to be indoors, but again, kind of weird gluing those round items together like that. I wasn't totally sure it was going to be strong enough without something on the back. You could use any fabric that you have though for that. And then I did notice I had hot glue on the front, so I just went in and kind of tried to clean mine up the best that I can with my heat gun. Now for the tree topper, I thought a starfish would be cute, so I decided to use one of these little starfish nautical pins from the Shore Living line at Dollar Tree. And I know it's on a clothespin, but we'll try it out, pop this off. So I start just kind of by breaking the clothespin. They make these pretty well, unfortunately, because I always want them without the clothespins 99% of the time. So I just used my heat, and I got it really good and hot because I knew it was going to be glued on strong. And then I was able to pop off my little clothespin without damaging the cute little blue starfish. It's already blue, so I think that's like a perfect coastal color, and it's just a matter of attaching it. I thought it would be best to attach it at the very top, so I'm actually going to attach it on the twine that I'm using as a hanger. So I just glue that to that. It's not actually attached to the tree at all. And I think that's all the decoration it needs. I don't think it really needs any kind of ornaments or anything like that. If you wanted to, you could use maybe some tiny seashells would be cute. But I kind of wanted you to see the wood to give it the appearance of a driftwood Christmas tree. I know that's probably not driftwood, those wood slices, but they kind of look like it, right? A little bit cleaner version. And this is how it turned out, our little faux driftwood Christmas tree. I kind of like the wood cracking when I cut it because it kind of gave the wood a little bit more character. And I think it turned out really sweet. For the next DIY, we're going to make a simple sand dollar ornament. These are the sand dollars from the Shore Living line at Dollar Tree. I try to stock up on these Shore Living items every spring and summer at Dollar Tree so that I have enough stuff so I can DIY at Christmas. Now, they're kind of a gray tint, So I kind of want mine to look more bleached out. So I'm just using an ivory acrylic and painting that to brighten it up a little bit. And a sand dollar is the perfect item to use for an ornament because it's already got the slot in there. It looks super coastal and it's just the perfect size for an ornament. I thought I would pair it with some of those wood beads. That is also a shore living item from the Dollar Tree, and I just really like the beachy blue wood beads. You could use whatever you have, and you could always paint your beads as well. And I just take some twine from the Dollar Tree, and we're just going to thread it right there through the slot on the top of the sand dollar. And we're going to tie that down, and so it's nice and secured, like double knotting that. Then we can bring that up, and I made sure I made it plenty long enough to make a hanger on it. And we can knot that, and I want to add wood beads. So I'm adding one of these beachy blue ones. And I kind of knotted it to kind of keep it in place. And I thought a couple of those would kind of brighten up the ornament, give it a little bit more decor. So I tie another knot and then add another blue bead. And then I can use the rest of the twine there to make a hanger for my Christmas tree. So I'm going to go ahead and tie that off. Once I made all those knots in there, I didn't really think that I'd made like my ornament hanger quite long enough. And so I do kind of scooch those little beads down. I was able to kind of force them over the knots that I had right there to keep them in place. And that kind of freed up the rest of the hanger so now we can use it. And that's all there is to it. We have a quick, easy little sand dollar ornament for a Christmas tree. It makes a perfect coastal Christmas ornament. Let me show you how it looks hanging on my tree. Super easy. And I loved those little wood bead hanging things from Shore Living line. I think those were new this year. I've never seen them before at Dollar Tree with the Shore Living line. But of course, the sand dollars and starfish come back every year, and they're so beautiful, so quick and easy. Okay, the next DIY, I found this piece of driftwood at the beach, super cute and small. I thought it was the perfect size to do a really easy version of a sailboat. So I'm going to drill a small hole right there in the middle of my driftwood, just large enough to use one of those little bamboo skewers from the cooking aisle at Dollar Tree to make like the mast for the middle of the sailboat. And I told you this is going to be a really easy one. So let me show you how I put it all together. I just do a little dot of hot glue right there where I drilled a hole. And then just skew my skewer right in there without cutting it first. So that way I can kind of see how long I kind of want it. Super easy to cut or like break these off. I found it was a little bit easier to kind of break it. And I think that's going to be the perfect size for a little sailboat ornament. Now, this is kind of the trick to make it so easy. I take some Dollar Tree twine, flip it over. I'm going to attach it to the top of the mast and the inside of like the left side here of the driftwood, where you're not going to be able to see it. Just an easier version, just using hot glue than having to screw in little hooks and do threading and tying and stuff like that. And I just wrap it around the very top, and we're going to come down and attach it the same way here on the other side to the driftwood. It's just a small ornament, so it's not going to need a lot of support. And the twine is also going to provide a structure to be able to add the sail to our sailboat. So I'm just going to cut off the excess twine there on both sides once it dries. And we kind of have the little skeleton there for our sailboat. Now for this sail, I thought it would be really cute to use some of the Shore Living fabric. It's got starfish all over it. I think the color is really nice. And I had a scrap piece of that. So I'm just going to kind of lay that on a square corner, kind of mapping out how big I want my sail to be. And I'm only going to do one sail for mine. I think that's going to be plenty, but you know, you could always do your sailboat however you want. Just try to make your sails a little bit different. It's going to make it look better if they're different sizes or shapes. And just trying to clean up my straight edge there. And then this is the very simple part. We're just going to attach the sail to that skewer and the twine that we added. And we're just going to do that with hot glue. So I told you the sailboat was going to be super easy. And it turned out so cute as a little coastal Christmas ornament. So I do a bead of hot glue on both and then just lay the fabric sail right there on top. Super cute. I think I've made a large version of a sailboat with this fabric before. It looks familiar. And then I just take another piece of twine and we're just going to tie that to the very top here of the skewer to make a little ornament hanger. Kind of the same area where I tied the twine to it, underneath of it a little bit, and kind of hiding the knot there in the back of the sail. And then I thought it needed a little flag. So I'm going to use one of these little burlap bags from the Dollar Tree and just cut out a teeny tiny little triangle of burlap. And you're just going to want some kind of fabric, doesn't really matter what it is, to do your little flag here at the top. And that's it. We're not going to do a sail on the other side. I kind of like it being just open like that. You could always string some decor down the side of it too if you wanted yours to be super festive, but I wanted mine to be super coastal. And so I think this is going to look great on my tree. So how quick and easy was that? A very easy little sailboat Christmas ornament DIY. I think this would be a really cute gift idea as well. I love giving and receiving Christmas ornaments as Christmas gifts. They're so great because then whoever you give them to can display them every year and think of you. This is how it looks on my tree. I think it turned out so cute, and literally it just took a couple of minutes to put this together. And if you don't have driftwood, you could always use a stick from your yard. Just try to get something a little bit weathered, and it'll give you kind of that same appearance. Okay, for the next DIY, we're using another one of the little ceramic signs from the Dollar Tree from Crafter Square. This one's kind of a larger circle. It's kind of large, but it's not too large for an ornament. Now, I designed this image with AI of little baby sea turtles heading out to the ocean. I love this. I think this turned out so cute. And again, I will share the free printable for you. I just printed mine out on cardstock again. And I made it a square, but I made it the same size as my circle here. It's just a matter of cutting it down to size. AI automatically designs things in a square, and so it's just kind of easier to leave it that shape. But again, I will include the Google Drive so that you can print out one of your own because this image turned out so cute. I'm covering the ceramic ornament with lots of Mod Podge to give it a nice strong grip to the cardstock and lay that right here on top. I try to keep this part dry. I try to use a dry paper towel to kind of push it down, make sure it's really connected to all the ceramic there. I don't mind if I have a little bit of a white edge around. I'd rather have that than have paper hanging over the edge. And I kind of feel out for any loose areas because I can always add a little bit more glue to make sure it's secure. And then I can go straight in with another coat of Mod Podge for the top, sealing the little sea turtles on there. How cute is that image? I've actually seen this, but it was at night, and you can't really use lights at the beach because the sea turtles will get confused because they see the reflection of the moon in the ocean, and that tells them what direction to go to the ocean. So you don't want to use any light at night. But we were actually down on the beach one night when a whole bunch of little leatherback baby sea turtles hatched out and went to the ocean. And those are the ones that get to be huge sea turtles, 1,000 pounds. They are incredible. So that is one of the great things that I've got to see here. I'm just kind of sanding my paper to make sure that I kind of have a circle shape. I didn't really like my cut over here on this side, and I wanted to make sure that I kind of had an even white border all the way around my ornament. Now I have it all sealed and everything, so I can go ahead and poke some holes in here. This one was a little trickier because the holes were larger because it's a larger sign. And so I'm using my Cricut weeder, but I kind of have a little bit of paper in there I'd kind of like to remove. So I just kind of feel around where the hole is. I can always kind of cut that excess paper in there. And my Mod Podge is not completely dry inside there yet either. So I was trying to do the best I can to shape it up, but not rip anything. I will have my hanger knotted in the front, so it will also be able to hide any imperfections. So this is the rope that I'm going to use for the hanger. I'm just going to string it through, and then I will just knot it in the front, and that'll make a good way to hang it and kind of cover up those holes a little bit, make it look a little bit better. But yes, seeing sea turtles go out to the ocean was a wonderful thing to see. I've also seen the mama sea turtles lay the eggs as part of our local coastal connections group. a sea turtle charity that where you can go out and see that, and they kind of become in a trance, so they don't even know you're there. And it was absolutely amazing. They drop like 100 like ping pong ball size eggs into a hole that they dig. They bury it and head back out to the ocean, and they're amazing. So I just finished mine up with a little dry brush of ivory acrylic to give it that coastal farmhouse vibe. And there's my little baby sea turtles heading out into the ocean. Super cute, and this is a nice large ornament again. I will share the printable in my Google Drive below if you want to try to recreate this little sea turtle Christmas ornament. Okay, for the next ornament, we're going to use a starfish. This is the starfish from the Shore Living line at the Dollar Tree. And I wanted to do a combination of starfish and driftwood. So I'm going to be using these wood slices again. And I kind of wanted to do like just a driftwood sign out of them. So you can kind of use whatever you've got. I think these are going to work great for it because I can just try to find enough that are like a similar width and length to kind of make a nice background to make the starfish more substantial, because these little starfish from the Dollar Tree Shore Living line are not very big. They did have the larger ones that were tied to ropes this year. Those would be perfect to use on their own, but this kind of needed something. So I thought driftwood would make a perfect background for that. Now to keep it all together, just like the Christmas tree, I thought we would again use burlap for the back. So just going to go ahead and cut that down and get that ready. I really love the little plastic starfishes from the Shore Living line at Dollar Tree. They are plastic, so they're not real, and they're white. So I kind of want mine to look more ivory. Again, kind of like the sand dollar that we used from the Shore Living line at Dollar Tree. So I'm just using some ivory acrylic and going over it. If you paint it, it looks super realistic, like a little bleached out starfish, and super cute. So it's just a matter of putting this together, very similar to how we did the little driftwood Christmas tree. I'm just going to glue them all together to kind of make a square background that's going to be just the right size for the little starfish. So I'm just trying to use as little glue as possible. I know I had too much glue last time. Again, you might want to use a finer tip. This Ryobi, I love it. It's my favorite glue gun. This is my second one, but it does shoot out a lot of hot glue. Now, once I get them all secured together, again, I'm just going to put glue all over the back so we can glue everything together with the little burlap piece we're going to hide in the back. Which, you know, it's pretty cute too. You could always leave that on the front if you wanted, but I really wanted the driftwood to be the background for the starfish. I'm again taking some Dollar Tree twine, tying a little loop so we can make a little ornament hanger for this one. And then we can just kind of hide that on the back of our little driftwood ornament by gluing the knot right there to the burlap. Having it go straight up. And a quick, easy little driftwood sign that we can attach the starfish to now. Once I got the hot glue cleaned up there on the front, I always like to kind of lay my starfish on there first to see which arms are going to be touching or which rays. And I'm only going to put hot glue on those because those are what are going to connect to the driftwood there. And glue that right on top. I'm going to finish it off with another one of those little beachy blue wood beads just to give it a little bit of color. I only have room for probably about one there, but this is how it turned out. Our little starfish and driftwood coastal Christmas ornament. I had so much fun putting all these DIYs together last night. I was trying to use like such a variety of things that I didn't already have for my coastal Christmas tree, but again, things that I could use supplies from the Dollar Tree if I could. Now for the next one, we're going to use a different kind of wood slice. These are the wood slice ornaments from the Dollar Tree. Super cute. This one's got a little water damage, but that's okay because we're going to cover it up anyway. I notice a lot of them do. The thing I like about these, you get 3 in a package, is that they already have the hole in them and they have an twine for a hanger. Now this is the image I designed with AI. It says sand between my mistletoes. I thought that was so funny. And again, I will include a link to my Google Drive so you can recreate this. I printed mine down just the perfect size for the little wood slice, and I'm just going to use a pencil to kind of draw that out so I can go ahead and kind of pre-cut mine. Now, the funny thing about this is I kept trying to tell AI to put some feet on the beach or toes on the beach, and it was absolutely terrifying, the things that it gave me. It gave me like 2 feet buried coming out of the sand, which looked like somebody had been, buried. And then one time it gave me a half of a foot. And so finally I was like, okay, just give me footprints in the sand. And some Christmas things. And it did much better that time. Sometimes the AI doesn't really get it, but it's really fun to play around with. Now I'm going to Mod Podge this straight to the wood slice. Again, I printed it out on cardstock, so it's going to be nice and easy to work with. I do a nice thick layer of that, and I tried to cut mine down to size where you can kind of see the bark of the wood slice around the edges there. It's going to be a little bit of a random shape, which I kind of took into account when I designed my image so none of my words would be cut off. And just smoothing that on there with a paper towel, making sure that all the edges are glued down. And then we're going to go on top and seal it with another coat of Mod Podge. I almost always use matte finish Mod Podge. It's my favorite. I think it looks coastal. I don't really like the sheen. And it does a really good job of sealing it, and I really love those small bottles from the Dollar Tree because you don't have to worry about them clogging or drawing up because they are nice and small. So I gave it a dry and sealed it one more time with Mod Podge to make sure that it is good and secure. Again, we're going to poke a hole in. This already had a hole pre-drilled, just a matter of kind of finding it and poking that with my little Cricut weeder. Kind of is right in the middle of one of my letters, but I think that's going to be okay. You're still going to be able to read it. The twine that comes with it is the perfect size to fit right through the hole. And I like to tie mine directly to the wood slice and then come up and make a loop at the top. Super cute. I love this saying. I wanted to make something that said that, and so I'm glad that I remembered to use that phrase. I think it's really funny. Now again, I'm going to do a very light dry brush with some ivory all over just to kind of break up the perfect nature of the image that we designed and make it look a little bit more rustic. Just wiping off any excess, and that's all there is to this DIY. I used a lot of wood slice ornaments for my Christmas vacation movie that I just did, and how easy is that to make a Christmas ornament with? And it can go with coastal, it can go with any kind of theme that you got. If you see those in your crafter square, be sure to pick them up because I'm sure they will go fast, especially this time of year. But there it is, our little stand between my mistletoes, Christmas ornament, so cute and fun. Now remember these, we're going to be using some wood stems again. I have another idea of Christmas ornament that I can make with these. I thought it'd be really cute to do a driftwood snowflake. And I thought we could probably pull it off. So I was kind of thinking, how am I going to design this? It's going to need a center of some kind. And they also have these wood slices at the Dollar Tree, which are just the circle cuts. I don't use them as often, but I think they're going to be perfect for the center of my little snowflake. So I was trying to find one that was just about the right size and color, and this one looks really good. And then I thought the wood stems were too long. So are the wood slices, so I'm going to cut them in half using my miter scissors, and we can make the little lines to form the frame of the snowflake. I've seen like larger versions of this done, and so I thought I could kind of shrink it down and kind of make it look like a smaller driftwood snowflake, and it was really fun to make. So I'm just kind of measuring about halfway up the stick. My miter scissors were not super sharp, so they were kind of splintering some of the wood, but most of the time I could still use the other side. Sometimes they kind of flew because I was really having to cut these hard. And sometimes I can just kind of cut it into pieces too, and it kind of helps cutting through those. But again, you could always use a saw or whatever you have to cut it. So originally I go in here and I'm trying to see exactly like how many rays I want here on my little snowflake, and so that's how it looks with a total of 6. I did try to go in and add 2 more to do 8, but I found that it was probably going to be a little too crowded, especially when I go to add like the detail pieces of each one of the snowflakes. So I decided to go with a total of 6 instead of 8. And then I'm going to take those half pieces and then cut those in half again to form the little pieces that go out on the side of the snowflake. Now I do have miter scissors, so I'll be able to cut those where they'll go the perfect direction. But I'm going to first attach all of these. I'm just using hot glue and attaching the cut end to the little wood circle that we put there in the middle. And I'm not measuring or anything. I'm just kind of going straight across from the one, across from it to form that. And then I take a half a piece that like we used before. And then instead of 90 degrees, I'm going to cut these at 45 degrees, which is the great thing about the miter scissors is that you can get these great angle cuts to make perfect crafts. So I can make them kind of go out in each direction like that. I think one row of those on each one is going to be plenty for this size of snowflake. And I'm glad I only decided to do 6 because as you can see, it would totally be too crowded if I would have done 8. So the first step is I just have to have the half pieces cut straight. So I'm going to go back in at 90 degrees and cut some more in half until I have enough for each one. And then I can go back and cut them at a 45-degree angle, saving both pieces, one for each side. And I was hesitant to do this because I thought it was going to be really time consuming, but I was really impressed with how easy it was. I absolutely love crafting with these wood slices. There's so many things you can do with them. And kind of like the driftwood that I get from Target, it's kind of easier to work with than the real stuff, but it gives you that same kind of driftwood feel. And I'm just simply attaching them with hot glue with my angled edges kind of pointing out so they'll sit flat up against the one next to it. And it is pretty sturdy. I do use Gorilla Glue hot glue, which is pretty a strong hot glue, but I am going to go back on the back side of my snowflake and reinforce it a little bit with a little bit of extra glue to make sure it's super strong. Then I kind of noticed, some of the wood was kind of darker, some of it was lighter, so I decided to kind of mix that up a little bit, make it look more random, like my little dark pieces like that. And then kind of mix and match that up. I decided I kind of probably should do like a darker one on the other side there. So just kind of moving those around a little bit. And we have a little driftwood snowflake. Way easier than I thought it would be. The wood slice for the center, I think, really helped. And of course, those longer wood slices, so cute. So I flipped it over on its back side. And then I'm just going to take some twine to make a little ornament hanger. And we can just knot that over one of the little snowflake rays. I decide to just kind of loop it, pull it around, and then simply tie that off down here so that it will stay on the ornament without falling off. Just double knotting that, making the twine kind of go up in a loop there in the back. And that worked really well. I'm also going to kind of hot glue it just so it stays kind of straight up in place. And it's going to make it hang straighter. And then this is just me reinforcing it with a little bit of hot glue on the back of my driftwood snowflake. You really won't be able to see this because it'll be on the back. And just hoping that that makes it a little bit stronger. But how cute is this? Our little driftwood snowflake ornament, perfect for a coastal Christmas tree. I absolutely love how this turned out, and I don't have anything like this on my coastal Christmas tree right now. Which, of course, I haven't put up yet. I do try to wait until Thanksgiving. And I'm so excited to have my son home for Thanksgiving break. I told him he's going to have to help me get that out of the attic and get it up. Christmas tree time. And this is how it looks hanging on my tree. Super sweet and cute. And all the supplies came from the Dollar Tree. Now, this is another tag sign that I found at Crafter Square. And it's not necessarily an ornament, but we're going to kind of modify it and make it into one. So it's like a tag sign that has all these wood beads on it. Now, this part of the hanger, though, is just one piece of twine, not necessarily the loop. And otherwise, it was going to be way too long to make into an ornament. So what we're going to do is just cut that whole thing off and just make our own little hanger on there. And we're going to use my Cricut Joy Extra to do some vinyl to make a really cute little coastal ornament. And I will share the SVG file that I used to make this. So I just tied twine off the little tag, and I'm using some of those white and beachy blue wood beads again for a little decor there at the top in color, and just tie a loop in that twine to make a hanger. Now, I designed a couple images and cut them out with my Cricut vinyl. I designed a palm tree using ChatGPT, using AI to make an SVG for my Cricut, and I've never done it before, but I was actually impressed it worked pretty well. And I'm going to have it say deck the palms. So I will share these SVGs individually so you can do yours in different colors as well, like I did. I did this great like mint green color for the palm tree decorated for Christmas. Isn't that so cute? It did so good. AI, first time I've used it to make an SVG. I kind of told it exactly what I wanted to do with it, and it did a good job. Now I'm going to use my paper transfer paper, and I love the paper transfer paper. I get that on Amazon. It is available in my shop. I love it because it works so well. It doesn't take paint off. You can reuse it. I'll show you that here in a second. Just making sure I have all my little dots down. And we're going to do the little blue decorated palm tree first, just leaving the wood natural. That's already going to look nice and beachy. And put that right down here on the bottom and scrape that on. I'm using real Cricut vinyl here, so it's premium, so it's actually pretty easy to work with. And just transferring all of that on there. Now, the white that I used is matte, which I like. It looks coastal. I used glossy for the blue, but I'll show you how I'm going to kind of try to take the gloss out of that a little bit to kind of make it all a little bit more matte finish. And we're going to go ahead and transfer our vinyl over to our paper. Just got to make sure that everything stays down. Whenever you're weeding and doing all that kind of stuff, you really have to take your time. Otherwise, you're going to leave some of it behind. And I didn't really take into account the hole in the top of my tag, so I'm going to have to overlap mine slightly, but I think that's going to be okay. And I scrape that on, deck the palms, the perfect little saying for coastal Christmas. How cute does that look? I'm making sure that all of my vinyl is good and secure. And then I want to kind of rough up that glossiness. I'm going to do that with sandpaper to kind of take away some of the finish on that. And it kind of pushes the vinyl down into the wood too, making sure it's super secure. And then I'm going to go ahead and seal the vinyl anyway with some matte Mod Podge. Again, it is the premium vinyl. It probably doesn't need to be sealed, but again, I kind of wanted to take away the shininess from the bluish green vinyl that I used there. And that is just some Cricut vinyl that I got on clearance recently at Cricut. I think it turned out so cute. Deck the palms. This is how it looks hanging in my tree. So easy. And I love those little wooden tag signs. Again, I found those at the Crafter Square. Not necessarily a Christmas ornament, but I think it makes a perfect Christmas ornament. And that little palm tree decorated for Christmas image is so cute. And again, I will share my Google Drive. It'll have Deck the Palms and the palm tree in separate files. Now, for this one, I wanted to try some of the Cricut holographic vinyl. This is the holographic blue. I think I've had this roll forever, but I never really had a use for it until now. I wanted to do mermaid scales on a little Christmas ornament. I picked this up at Target Dollar Spot. It's a gift topper, but it was only $1, so even cheaper than the Dollar Tree. And we're just going to kind of convert it and make it into an ornament. All I had to do was kind of cut it down, tie the knot off, remove some of the wood beads, and now it's an ornament, which makes more sense to me. And then I cut out mermaid scales using the holographic Cricut vinyl. And again, I will include this SVG that I designed for you in this round pattern to cut out the perfect little mermaid scales. And I'm so glad I decided to use holographic because it is so sparkly and cool, just like you would think mermaid scales would look. So I'm just going to, again, use my paper transfer paper and transfer all the vinyl over to that. And I'm just going to cover the entire like wood ornament with the mermaid scales. Super easy to do, and it turned out so fun. It takes this little plain Christmas ornament from the Target Dollar Spot and gives it a coastal vibe for sure. I made it slightly overlap the little line edges on there, so just trying to line that up so it will be like completely even on both sides. That's the only thing about the paper transfer paper. It's a little hard to see through it, but again, it is my favorite. And I just scraped that on there, and there's our little holographic mermaid scales. How fun are those? Super cute. I'm not going to seal it or anything because I don't want to take away the sheen from that holographic vinyl. I think it's pretty secure, and you can see how much that shimmers and shines. That's going to look so great with all my Christmas lights, making it sparkle on my Christmas tree this year. My Christmas tree, of course, is all coastal Christmas. And I have a lot of ornaments that I'm going to make later on in this video that I use, but I have a lot of store-bought ones from like Bells as well, but I kind of like some of mine that I've DIY'd even better. Now for the next one, I'm going to use a Halloween ornament. I picked these up at the end of Halloween because they were already kind of blue, so I thought these would make a good like fishing float, like a glass float look without having to dye it. Now, I wanted a smaller fishing net, and a lot of you guys have recommended these rug liners, so I thought I would give it a go. I had actually picked up a market pantry bag for this, and I have no idea what I did with it, so I'm trying to use the rug liner to see what that would look like. And not really a fan. So I think I'm going to DIY my own fishing net to go on the outside of my fishing float because I just didn't think this looked very much like a fishing net in this application, and I would have all that excess material that I would have to kind of deal with as well. So I thought it would just be easier to make my own. So I'm just going to use the white twine from the hardware section at Dollar Tree, pop off the top of my ornament, and just kind of make our own little fishing net. So it's a little time consuming, but I will take you through the steps that it takes to do this, and it's going to give you a net that's going to be the perfect size for your ornament. So there was kind of a line around mine, so I kind of went with that so I could kind of hide it. And I'm going to glue it right here under where the ornament hanger is, and then wrap it around. I glued it to the bottom there, and then gluing it to the top on the other side where it just went all the way around, but not where the ornament hanger is, if that makes sense. And then I'm just going to have to keep going through and doing rows. I just kind of keep repeating the same pattern by gluing it here at the top, pulling it around the bottom. At first I thought that was the center because that's where there was a little dot, but then I realized the center, that was not the center. So I'm going to kind of move mine over, overlap it at the true center here on the bottom of my ornament. Now, if you can't find these, again, these were Halloween ornaments. It's pretty easy to kind of dye these to kind of get your own look. You can dye plastic with clothing dye if you want to get a colored ornament like this. Or you could even take like a little bit of food coloring, glue, and water, and thin it out, put it inside your clear plastic ornament, and, you know, kind of let the excess fall out. Drying that, and the dye and the glue is going to kind of give you a similar like stained vibe to make your own colored little globe like this. So I just keep repeating that all the way around until I get pretty good coverage. And now it is the cross weave, I guess, of the fishing net. And I'm only going to do a couple of rows, and I do that by kind of feeding it underneath the twine so that I can tie it into a knot. And that's going to kind of be my starting piece. Now, I put a little hot glue on the end of my twine. It's going to make it easier to thread that through each one of these twine pieces, kind of making it into like a needle kind of point, and tying that on to the row next to it, trying to keep it as taut as I can. And we're just going to keep doing that until we go all the way around the little fishing float. The toughest part was probably just trying to get it underneath the twine. I had my twine on there fairly tight, but if you kind of move it back and forth, you can kind of find a little weak spot to be able to feed it through, and then just tying it to itself, forming that knot. The knot is kind of key to kind of get that fishing net feel. I found that even though it was a little tricky to get the line in there, it was easier to do it now because while it was attached than to make the net and attach it later, because again, we're going over the globe shape, so it's not like a perfect linear surface. And we're going to keep doing that until we go all the way around. I'm going to knot it to the same place that we started the knot, and then I can go down and do a second row. I decided 2 rows was enough to kind of make the fishing net pattern on it, and it actually did turn out super cute. Just a little bit time consuming. And I love doing the fishing net with the market pantry bags. Sometimes I can find them at Dollar Tree, but they're white and pink, and I haven't found any in a long time. But I did find one recently at Five Below, but I have no idea where I put it. I've been in the middle of turning my guest room into my craft supply room, and I'm trying to get super organized. A lot of you guys have mentioned that you would like me to make that into a video, so I am currently working on that to give you guys some ideas to try to get your craft stashes under control. So you'll have to let me know in the comments below if you would enjoy that video. This is that second row that we're doing, and again, just feeding it under, tying it off, and I started the same place I stopped. That way it can kind of be the back of my ornament that kind of has the extra knots on it, but it doesn't really matter. Knots are part of like the fishing net pattern. And even though it was a little time consuming to do, I think this turned out really cute. I think it does look kind of like a glass fishing float, which was the look I was going for. I don't have anything like this on my coastal Christmas tree right now. And it's not real glass. Again, it's just plastic, but it definitely has the appearance of a blue glass. And you can kind of move these up and down until it's nice and tight, however it's going to look the best. And then I am going to reattach this. I kind of had to hot glue it on to get it to reattach. It was kind of on there, kind of weird. And so cute. Now it just needs a hanger because it's just got like the metal hanger there at the top. So I decided to switch it up and use the brown twine for this part, just to give a little variety, and just tie a knot there on the top. And there it is, our little glass fishing float Dollar Tree DIY ornament. Look how pretty that looks. You would never know that was a Halloween ornament, right? It totally gives me like a blue, like iridescent vibe, which I think is kind of cool. I think it's going to look really good combined with like my Christmas lights. I mean, just the light from my flash is already picking up in that, so super cute. Now, if you can't find the wood slice ornaments at the Dollar Tree, I wanted to show you what you could do with these. These are way more plentiful probably, and these are in your Christmas aisle. And they're not real wood slices, but we're going to kind of try to make it work. So first thing we're going to do is kind of try to take this apart. I can always use the back of it, but I thought I would try to clean it up the best I can. And the reindeer just kind of wanted to come off of it. They were not good, like attached. You can see I just pulled that one off with my hand. This one was glued on a little tighter, but still pretty easy to loosen up and kind of clean up the back of it. I also didn't really like the tinsel that was on there and the pine cone. It wasn't really my vibe because I wanted to do a coastal ornament with this. And it's all kind of in there with a giant staple. As I pull that out, it kind of leaves a big crevice. And again, the wood slice is not like a real wood slice, so the bark is kind of artificial and attached. So I'll just have to kind of put something up there at the top to kind of cover up the hole I left by taking that off. I'm going to go ahead and stain the back of it. It doesn't stain perfectly, but I think it looks better than just a really, really light wood like that. So I just use a little antique wax by Waverly and a baby wipe to stain the back. You can kind of see where the glue had been back there. So that's definitely going to be our back side. And then we're also going to stain this side. I just put enough stain on there of the antique wax by Waverly to be able to spread out and give a lighter stain by following that up with a baby wipe. And I wanted to add seahorses to this. I thought that'd be really cute. These are the little chipboard sea creatures that they have right now at the Crafter Square. And I'm going to try to use 2 of the seahorses. Now they're already painted in kind of like this tie-dye pattern, but I kind of want mine to be facing each other like that. So I'll have to kind of paint those to match because the back of it's just like the chipboard material. And you can use whatever you find. You know, sometimes they just have them in the chipboard. They don't have to be these colored ones. And I just go over them with like 3 coats of my favorite color, the Cloudless blue color, to make them look beachy and blue. It was a little bit of coverage to get that glossy paper and that chipboard to be like a solid color. So it took a good 3 coats. Once I get those painted, I can go ahead and make a new hanger for ornament. I just tie the twine into a knot. I can always hide that into this crevice that I kind of made here. I put a little hot glue down in there, and I'll also have to come back and put something on the sides to kind of fill that in where the bark is now. missing because I removed all of the greenery that was up there. And then I kind of want these like maybe one taller than the other one. I think it looks better kind of like that. And we're just going to simply hot glue our little seahorses on here. So cute. I am a huge seahorse fan, so anytime I can use that in a DIY, I'm definitely going to do it. And glue the other one down here. I thought about doing a little seaweed or something like that, but I kind of like the simplicity of the wood slice. Now for the greenery, I'm just going to use some of this frosted mistletoe that I got at Dollar Tree and with their Christmas greenery. And I was trying to decide how long I wanted it to be. At first I tried that length by trimming off one set of leaves, but I thought it was too long. I kind of wanted it to look a little bit like seaweed, but I didn't want it to be super obnoxious long, so I trimmed it down a little bit more, and I like that better. And I had got the hot glue kind of hot inside there already, and so I was able to just put those down right inside. And then I thought it needed like maybe one more little beachy touch, so I decided to add some little tiny starfish I have. I get these on Amazon. They're in my shop below. I ordered them in the ivory and the blue. I think they're so cute. You can see they come in a variety of sizes. I picked out 2 of the small ones to kind of fill in some of the open space there in my wood slice and just give it another little coastal touch. They are real little starfish and they're so cute. So just a little dot of hot glue is going to secure those on there. And here it is, our little wood slice seahorse ornament. So coastal and cute. And just another option, if you can't find the wood slices like I was using before, you can totally use these that have like the red and black plaid animals and stuff on the back and just kind of remake them your own. Okay, for the next DIY, we're going to use some of those wood slice ornaments from Dollar Tree again. And we're going to use our Cricut to make some fun little beachy ornaments. Now, you can see they're a little bit different sizes, but we're going to make them work. This one had a little water damage, so we're not going to use that one because I want the exposed wood on this one. I don't really want you to be able to see the water damage. Just going to use my new Cricut Joy Extra to cut down some vinyl. I wanted to do some snowflakes to go on each one because I want them to be coastal, but I want them to have a little bit of a winter feel. So we're just going to add some white vinyl snowflakes to these, and then we can add some sea creatures. And as you can tell, this is HTV and not vinyl. These are the iron-on. I'm going to show you how you can do the iron-on on wood. Now for the sea creatures, I'm going to use this prismatic glitter vinyl from Cricut and this like mint green color. I thought this would be so perfect. I cut out a sea turtle and a seahorse, and I think they turned out so pretty with that prismatic glitter. They shimmer and shine. I can't wait to see what they look like with my Christmas lights this year. So I do have these designs saved under Cricut Design Space, and I will post the links to those as well. You will have to have a membership, or you'll have to buy the files because this is an official Cricut project. Now, I went on the Cricut heat guide. It told me 300 degrees for 45 seconds. Now, not all wood is the same with HTV, and so you kind of have to take that in mind. I just let mine cool, and mine were pretty well down with the time, but I did notice when I went to add the glitter, I did have to add extra time. These are where you kind of have to like wait until it's cold to peel it off. So it does require a little bit of patience. And this one said 315 for 30 seconds. And I'm just using my Cricut Easy Press, and that's when it wasn't stuck. So I just went in with my smaller Cricut iron and tried to apply more heat. But you totally can use HTV on wood, and it's a great use for these little wood slice ornaments from the Dollar Tree. Look at that shimmer and shine. I thought these were so fun to put together, and I really had a good time doing the little sea turtle and the seahorse, 2 of my favorite little creatures. Now these also come with hangers, so I'm just going to go ahead and string the hangers back on. And these are complete, our 2 little glitter sea creature ornaments. I think these are going to look great displayed together. These would be a great gift idea as well. And I kind of designed the snowflakes where they would kind of be in the background of each creature. Here is our little seahorse with snowflakes. Look at that glitter. And our little sea turtle glimmering as well.
So remember that you can totally use the HTV on your wood ornaments too, instead of vinyl. And it kind of gives you a little bit different feel. Seems to stick a little flatter. The only problem that I had was trying to get enough heat to make sure that it was super attached. But if you've got some, it's a great use for it. Now, these are the plain white globes from the Dollar Tree, and I was able to order these online with like a shorter, you only had to buy, I think, 3 of them instead of a whole case. And I like them because they were white and flat, so I thought they'd be great to do vinyl. I'm doing the champagne color metallic vinyl, and I'm cutting out a really beautiful, intricate jellyfish and a piece of coral. And I'm just going to add them to the plain white ornaments. And I thought that would be really beautiful as well. Now, the jellyfish is very intricate. I did simplify it a little bit, and I will share this Cricut design as well in the description below this video for the little jellyfish and for this little coral piece. I'm going to use some transfer paper, and we are just going to simply put those on the little globe ornaments. The great thing about those globes being the flat globes is they're really easy to apply. I didn't really have a lot of round edges. I just kind of had to make sure that everything was smoothed down and touching, and it was actually easier than I thought it would be. The toughest part was just trying to get the metallic glitter to stick to my transfer paper. But once I fought that, I was able to get the coral on this second one as well. I just have to make sure that everything is kind of sitting flat, so sticky side is out, and we can stick the metallic champagne gold. And so this is a way you could do it with the vinyl instead of the HTV. And again, it was pretty flat. I did have to cut my transfer paper here and there to kind of get this one to lay flat because it's a little bit wider. But I think it turned out great. I really wanted these to be really detailed, but I also tried to make them in a way where it wouldn't require too much weeding, because it can kind of get annoying when you're weeding like really small things. So I tried to use pieces that were connected. Mainly it was just like the dots and the jellyfish that were a little tricky. Now the hangers on these are silver, and I didn't like the fact that they kind of clashed with the gold that we applied. So I'm just going to use some metallic gold acrylic paint and repaint these to kind of make them match. And I wish I had some spray paint. I think that would have worked a little bit better, but I just did a couple coats of gold metallic, and I was able to get them pretty gold. And then we can just pop those back on our little white ornaments. And you could always paint these as well before you add your vinyl to them if you don't want just the plain white color. But this is another option. Dollar Tree ornaments that you could just use your Cricut for. I think these would look really pretty like in a light blue color too. I would probably use spray paint if I were going to paint them first. But here is our little shimmering jellyfish. I used a Cricut file for that, but I simplified it. And here is our little glittering coral. I'm really glad that I painted the tops gold too, because the silver was kind of bothering me. And this is how they look hanging together.
I think they turned out really beautiful. I love that gold vinyl. It's so fun to DIY with. Thank you so much for making it all the way to the end of my video. Up next, I have the final reveal of all 30 of the Christmas DIYs that we made today. If you enjoyed today's video, be sure to hit that like button and also subscribe if you haven't. We're trying to get to 30,000 subscribers. And don't forget to tell me your favorite DIY in the comments below.
Hold up, I am on my way, I'm in motion. Let's go to the ocean. Yeah, let's go outside. We can hang out on the beach without freezing. Yeah, isn't that amazing? In Christmas times, we'll be chilling and having a good time. Doesn't matter if the snow is falling or the wind blows and the rain is pouring. It will always be Christmas in my heart. But this year I wanna hang out with my friends and family, making angels in the sand. You ready? Doesn't Santa's coming to visit. No, he wouldn't miss this in Christmas times. Oh, and the sun said it is just getting better on a blanket with the skyline painted in blue. Ooh, yeah, that's what we do. We'll be chilling and having a good time. Doesn't matter if the snow is falling or the wind blows and the rain is pouring. It will always be Christmas in my heart. But this year I wanna hang out with my friends and family, making angels in the sanctuary. Doesn't matter, it is Christmas in my heart.
Here we go. All right.
Dance, dance,
Now this Christmas, we're gonna dance.
we're gonna
Okay.
dance, dance, dance,
Come on.
dance. We're gonna dance, dance, have a good time. Dance, dance, all night long. We're gonna dance, dance, and have a good time. I think Santa's gonna come and join us in this song. Doesn't matter if the snow is falling or the wind blows and the rain is pouring. It will always be Christmas in my heart. But this year I wanna hang out with my friends and family, making angels in the sanctuary. Doesn't matter, it is Christmas in my heart. Hold up, I am on my way. I'm in motion. Let's go to the ocean. Yeah, let's go outside. We can hang out on the beach without freezing. Yeah, isn't that amazing? In Christmas times, we'll be chilling and having a good time. Doesn't matter if the snow is falling or the wind blows and the rain is pouring. It will always be Christmas in my heart. But this year I wanna hang out with my friends and family, making angels in the sanctuary. Doesn't matter, it is Christmas in my heart. And I can promise Santa's coming to visit. No, he wouldn't miss this in Christmas times. Oh, and the sun said it is just getting better on a blanket with the skyline painted in blue. Ooh, yeah, that's what we do. We'll be chilling and having a good time. Doesn't matter if the snow is falling or the wind blows and the rain is pouring. It will always be Christmas in my heart. But this year I wanna hang out with my friends and family, making angels in the sanctuary. Doesn't matter, it is Christmas in my heart.
Here we go. All right.
Dance, dance,
Now this Christmas, we're gonna dance.
we're gonna
Okay.
dance, dance, dance,
Come on.
dance. We're gonna dance, dance, have a good time. Dance, dance, all night long. We're gonna dance, dance, and have a good time. I think Santa's gonna come and join us in this song. Doesn't matter if the snow is falling or the wind blows and the rain is pouring. It will always be Christmas in my heart. But this year I wanna hang out with my friends and family, making angels in the sanctuary. Doesn't matter, it is Christmas in my heart. Hold up, I am on my way. I'm in motion. Let's go to the ocean. Yeah, let's go outside. We can hang out on the beach without freezing. in Christmas times. We'll be chilling and having a good time. Doesn't matter if the snow is falling or the wind blows and the rain is pouring. It will always be Christmas in my heart. But this year I wanna hang out with my friends and family, making angels in the sand. You ready? Doesn't matter, it is Christmas in my heart. And I can promise Santa's coming to visit. No, he wouldn't miss this in Christmas times. Oh, and the sunset, it is just getting better on a blanket with the skyline painted in blue. Ooh, yeah, that's what we do. We'll be chilling and having a good time. Doesn't matter if the snow is falling or the wind blows and the rain is pouring. It will always be Christmas in my heart. But this year I wanna hang out with my friends and family, making angels in the sand. You ready? Doesn't matter, it is Christmas in my heart.
Here we go. All right.
Dance, dance,
Now this Christmas, we're gonna dance.
we're gonna
Okay.
dance, dance, dance,
Come on.
dance. We're gonna dance, dance, have a good time. Dance, dance, all night long. We're gonna dance, dance, and have a good time. I think Santa's gonna come and join us in this song. Doesn't matter if the snow is falling or the wind blows and the rain is pouring. It will always be Christmas in my heart. But this year I wanna hang out with my friends and family, making angels in the sand. You ready? Doesn't matter, it is Christmas in my heart. Hold up, I am on my way. I'm in motion. Let's go to the ocean. Yeah, let's go outside. We can hang out on the beach without freezing. Yeah, isn't that amazing? In Christmas times, we'll be chilling and having a good time. Doesn't matter if the snow is falling or the wind blows and the rain is pouring. It will always be Christmas in my heart. But this year I wanna hang out with my friends and family, making angels in the sand. You ready? Doesn't matter, it is Christmas in my heart. And I can promise Santa's coming to visit. No, he wouldn't miss this in Christmas times. Oh, and the sunset, it is just getting better on a blanket with the skyline painted in blue. Ooh, yeah, that's what we do. We'll be chilling and having a good time. Doesn't matter if the snow is falling or the wind blows and the rain is pouring. It will always be Christmas in my heart.
And I want to give a huge thank you to the following Crafty Beach Bum members for supporting my channel. Thank you so much to Coastal Couple, Pamela Bergeron, I Am Mojo Jojo, Melinda Elizabeth, Jamie Job, Susan Edmonds, Sandra Ray, Carrie R., Tracy Knight, Vernon Noctigal, Nancy Warner, Julie Miller, Jan Zalata, Tammy Coates, Janae Farrington, Pamelia Wren, Whitney Harrison, Maria Grace, Butterfly Mama, Donna Schreiner, and Tina Kane. Thank you so much for supporting my channel here on YouTube. I appreciate you so much. If you would like to become a Crafty Beach One member, it's super easy to do. All you have to do is hit the join button underneath this video. It's $4.99 a month, and you can cancel anytime. And again, you're going to get early ad-free access to my videos. Thank you so much for watching this long 2023 Christmas DIY video. If you would like to watch more Crafty Beach, YouTube thinks you might enjoy this video right here. Happy crafting and Merry Christmas.